We on live right now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, but you have an echo.
All right, I gotta log out of the Google Hangouts. All right, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
See here. Can you let's see audio? Yeah, y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear the non-lawyer?
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Hold on. Okay, all right. There you go. All right, I can
All
hear
right,
you.
you got me?
I got you.
All
I
right.
got you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, this is actually going to be, oh, I can actually share my screen too. So, actually, I can't even find your channel. This is the weirdest thing. What's your channel name again? I know I subscribed.
Opinion. Opinion.
APNIUYU. The weirdest thing. What's your channel?
Yeah, go ahead.
APN.
I'm trying to send you a link to it
Okay.
because I done had to do. I'm sending it in a private chat. There you go. Yeah, I done had to scale back. Okay. This is the non-lawyer.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Comments. I know you're in my comments. Eight. See if I can just find you.
E-Class, I see you on both of us. I love you back.
So you actually had some things on your channel that was I just found it really interesting. I found your channel now. So I like your channel, and you had some things on your channel that I thought was really interesting. So I was like, man. So when you actually hit me up on my page, I forget what video you saw on my page, and you hit me up, and you was like, let's do a live so we can talk about this. And I was like, cool, but I really want to talk about this video you have on your channel, Lanita Carter. Let me go ahead and share my screen here really fast. All right, share screen. Can I share screen sharing is easy with 2 monitors? Okay, let's see what screen is going to share. I don't know what's going to happen here. Share screen. Okay, yeah, it gives me the chance to pick the screen, so we good, right?
Okay, here we go. There
You
you
can see
go.
my screen. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So now the video I saw was the video where you were talking about questioning Lanita Carter, and when I initially saw the video, I was
Mhm.
like, "This dude is cold." I was like, "This dude is cold." But then later on, I actually was doing some reading, and
Mhm.
where's that video at? Is it list name Lanita Carter?
Go keep going down. It would have been before all of that.
Oh
Because
yeah,
that go keep going down. All right. Keep going
questioning
right there.
the witness or something
There
like
you
that.
go right there. There you go right there.
Which one?
On your far right. Third one up on your far right. Go to the far right. Third one up.
Third one up, 2, 3. There it is. Yeah. So I just thought this was a cold video. Let me see.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in the work parking lot. It was raining like a mug. There you go.
So I thought this was cold, but after doing some reading, because I was reading up on some other things, because I
Mhm.
do a lot of videos too, and when I do my videos, I try to base it based off the law or the statute or whatever's going on.
Right.
So one of the things I noticed is that
Right.
a lot of stuff that you said in the video, although was like really to the point, and it was kind of ingenious because I think you were saying like, look at this person, look at this person's character, and based on the person's character, you can basically determine whether or not the person is basically full of it or if it's just a money grab. And you're right. I mean, I agree with that 100%. If you look at a person's backstory, you look at their history, and they've been doing dirt all up until the point they filed his lawsuit against, this man, chances are that it's basically bogus. But there's one problem with all that. There
Yeah, go
is
ahead.
there's one problem with all that. The problem is I'm gonna talk about this from the standpoint. Are you East St. Louis or St. Louis?
St. Louis, man. St. Louis. St.
What,
Louis, Missouri. East St. Louis is Illinois.
so you in Illinois?
No, I'm in Missouri. That's what I'm saying. St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, because I know you go across that bridge.
Yeah, that's where I got the strip club at.
Right. So let me tell you something. I went to, where did I go? I
Pink
was in,
slip.
huh?
Went to the pink slip.
I don't know what it was, man. It took me because I came down there to play some poker. Because I'm in Chicago, so I play poker at the Horseshoe on a regular basis. I was like, let me change this game up because people in Chicago, and well, not Chicago, but in Indiana, they really don't like me. And it's like, they run game on you a lot. It's like a lot of times you just need to go to some place fresh and just, have a fresh start. So I was like, let me go to St. Louis, got off the train to Lumiere's downtown. I played poker, and I think I won like $1,000. I was like, well, fuck it. Let me go to the strip club. And then I went across the bridge and I went to the strip club, but I can't remember which one it was. But
what the outside look like, man. I'm very, very, very in activities, god damn it. All right.
all I know, it was like
In that motherfucking period. Damn it. They know me on a first name basis. Listen,
I couldn't even tell. All I know, it was just like a huge open area. I'll get the name for you later. But anyway, what's up? Because they said one had it was the biggest one with most of the black people in there. Because they said one of them had just closed. They said one of them just closed. Yeah, that's what it was.
They closed for about 2. Pink's have been closed for about 2 years now.
Right. So this would have been like 4 months ago. 4 months ago.
Yeah, nigga, that was bottoms up because everything else around Brooklyn is closed.
Yeah, and the thing I like about it is that it was really just a club, even though it's a strip club, but the way it's actually done is really just a club with strippers in it. That's the way I feel about it. It wasn't like the traditional strip club where you basically come there and you basically just there for the ladies and the ladies just control the entire show. It was really just a club where people were just drinking. Yeah, there was strippers there, but it just felt more like a club. And I ain't gonna lie.
I could take you to a place. I could take you to a place, goddamn
it. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I love going to strip clubs, but I hate giving away my money. So
yeah. Hey, goddamn it. Listen, you gotta be a blessing to somebody so it could be a blessing to you, goddamn it. Fuck what you talking about, goddamn it. Listen. I'm making this motherfucker on quarantine deprived, goddamn it.
But anyway, let me get back on point. Let me get back on point, man. So you're not East St. Louis, correct?
No, I'm not, bro. I'm
all right. So basically, East St.Louis is Illinois. I never really knew that. For those that are basically joining or whatever, East St. Louis is Illinois, basically. So basically, there are rules to the game. So if you want to bring a person's history into court and you want to question, because I think your video, the way you went about the video, you were talking about how you would question Lanita Carter if you was a lawyer and how you would bring up her past. And all of that is fine and dandy when it comes down to dealing with people basically on the street. But when it comes down to court, you actually can't do that. And I'm going to show you why. At least I found out. Court Uh, what is it? What is it? And I have to remember what it was. Let me see if it's just reputation. Evidence of character. And this tripped me out because, like I said, I would think if a dude was just bogo, if a person was just, dirty and they known for, doing people dirty, that you can just bring up their character for Supreme Court Rule 405. Methods of actually, I didn't even read this. Evidence of character. Okay, so methods of proving character, reputation, or opinion in all cases in which evidence of character or trait of a character of a person is admissible. Proof may be made by testimony as to reputations or by testimony in form of an opinion. So basically, you could come out like if you knew the witness or you knew the defendant or the person that filed the case, you can come out and speak on that person's character and reputation, or somebody can basically that person come out and give testimony, right?
What
So
what rule? What
this
rule
is
is this?
Supreme. This is Illinois now. So here's the thing: it's going to be different from state to state. So what we
But I'm just saying, what rule is this or whatever? Because we having a law discussion, so I got to see what you do. Because if we got two opposing arguments, then I got to be able to see what you see. Because
I'm sharing my screen. That's why I'm sharing my screen now.
Yeah, it say that in all cases which evidence of a character or all every character or a trait of character of a person is admissible. Proof may be made by testimony as to reputation or by testimony in the form of opinion.
Right.
Specific case conduct in many cases which character or character which a person is essential element of a claim or defense may be made from specific instances of that person's conduct. And so then it goes on to talk about in criminal whatever. So then to credibility of a witness may be attacked or supported by evidence in the form of opinion, reputation, limitations. The evidence may refer only to the character for truthfulness or evidence of truthful characters and
right.
Witness for truthfulness has been attacked by opinion or reputation evidence. I don't. So I'm not getting.
So basically, what I'm trying to get to is that certain things are not admissible in court. You can't bring certain character evidence into court. So, for example, if I was actually trying to find this. I wish I'd have been a little bit more prepared before we had this live. But basically, let's say you just known as a horrible person, and I take you to court for stealing my car, right? And basically, the only character evidence that I could use in that specific incident is any character evidence I have where you're stealing cars. But the character evidence where you're running around busting people's heads, stabbing people, shooting people, that wouldn't be admissible in court. So when we coming back to that Lanita Carter video, if you try to bring any evidence into court that doesn't have anything to do with that specific situation, then it wouldn't be admissible. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, because right here it says evidence of a character witness. So if you're talking about the character of the person,
that's right.
Then everything is admissible. So therefore,
it's not. That's the point I'm trying to make. You have to rules of evidence. Hold on a second.
Because I haven't seen anything.
Okay, hold on a second.
I ain't seen anything.
Yeah, I wish, because when I read this, I was thinking about your video. Here it is. Rule 404, character evidence not admissible to prove conduct, exceptions, and other crimes, right? So I can read this or you can read it. Which one? You want me to read it or you want to read it?
Yeah, I'll read it.
Okay, go ahead.
Evidence of a person's character is not admissible for the purpose of proving action or conformity within on a particular occasion, except character of accusing criminal evidence of a trait offered by an accused or by the prosecutor to rebut this
So let me stop right there.
trait.
Let me just stop right there, because you're chopping up to me. I just want to reread it. So evidence of a person's character or trait or character is not admissible for the purpose of proving action in conformity therewithin on a particular occasion, except. So basically saying is saying that you just can't generally bring a person's character into court and use that as evidence, except in a criminal case, evidence of a pertinent trait of character offered by an accused or by the prosecution to rebut the same, right? So pertinent meaning something specific. That's generally what is meaning. So if I look up the definition of pertinent, relevant or applicable to a particular matter, right? So basically, the only evidence that you can bring into court when it comes down to a person's character is the character evidence that relates to that specific incident. So going back to Lanita Carter, she basically has a trashy history. And believe me, I'm not here to support Lanita Carter, but this just blew my mind when I read it, because I saw your video and I was like, damn, that dude is cold. I was like, this is a cold video, and everything you made in that video made sense. But if you were basically defending R. Kelly and you tried to bring all that stuff up, this would have stopped you dead in your and this would have stopped you dead in your tracks. Supreme Court Rule 404 A and A1, right? Basically, the only evidence that you can bring about Lanita's character is the stand-up poetry readings where she says she's addicted to giving, you know what. But anything above and beyond that, you wouldn't be able to bring. Are you still there? It looked like you dropped out. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, ain't that crazy?
So hold on, go back. I missed what you're saying.
So, okay, all right. So let me just read it again. Evidence of a person's character or trait of character is not admissible for the purpose of proving action and conformity therein on a particular occasion, except. So basically, this line is telling you that a person's character cannot be brought into court except under specific conditions. In a criminal case, evidence of a pertinent trait or character offered by an accused or by prosecution to rebut the same, right? So basically, you can only bring it, they say pertinent, but specific is probably a better word, because like I said, when we look up the word pertinent, I'm about to switch over to the definition of pertinent. 1 second.
Now let me rebut what you're saying right now.
Go ahead.
So there are prohibited uses and permitted uses, right? And so you have to tell me what specific evidence that you're talking about. But when we go to the Cornell Law Library, it says evidence may be admissible for another purpose, such as proving motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, absence of mistake, or a lack of accident. So
you looking at evidence in general.
No, I'm looking at this specific rule that you were talking about.
It's okay. Share your screen. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Share your screen. 1 second.
I'm talking about Rule 404, character evidence or crimes. So I'm actually on another computer.
Oh, you're on another computer. Okay.
Hold on.
Where you said I can just bring it up. I'll share my screen. Just send me the link. Oh, you got it. Go ahead.
I got it. All right. So shit. Okay, this is the screen that we on. All right, so let's go right here. So, all right. So when we go right here, this is rule 404: character evidence, crimes, or acts. Then when we go
And
right here,
what state is this though? Is this federal or is this
this, this is
or is this
just law. This ain't. This
no, it
is.
don't work like that. Okay, so um
All right, let's go. Let's go to.
no,
Let's go
no,
to.
we're fine. I just want to know what the context is. Scroll all the way up. Scroll all the way up.
There we go.
All the way up. All the way up. This is federal. So
Right.
federal
So
is probably a good context. Go ahead.
now let's see
Prohibited
here.
use evidence of a person's character or character trait is not. Hold on. Read the first line. Read the first line.
Prohibited using of
Right.
evidence of a person's character or character trait is not admissible to prove on that a particular occasion, on a particular occasion,
Right.
that person acted in accordance with the character or trait.
Right. So
On a
basically,
particular,
they're saying the same thing. Generally, a person. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Generally,
bro.
go ahead.
No, so right now, what this is to me, it says a person. It said the key point to this is it said on a particular occasion. That means that if it happened one time,
No, that's
what
not
I
what that.
brought
Let
out
me
in
let
that
me read that. Hold
video,
on a second. Let me read that. That's not what that means.
hold on,
Evidence of a person's character or character trait is not admissible to prove that on a particular occasion the person acted in accordance with the character trait. Okay, no, I got you. You're right. Go ahead. Keep going.
right? So what I bought out. So let's stop it. Let's slow this down right now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bring out an isolated incident, which would be that particular occasion. I brought out a history, starting with the fact that you have four different husbands. Every relationship that you was in, you profited off of every guy that you was with. That's not an isolated incident or a particular occasion. That is an expanded body of work.
Okay.
That's an expanded history, right? So that's character. So when we're talking about character evidence, that goes to speak to your character. What the heart of this law is saying is that you can't pick one isolated time that a person fucked up and say that this is who that person is. But when you look at the expansive history of you got five different kids, four different daddies, you
Right.
have a pattern of you you come with Susan Lokins, a Lakeshore Drive, or you from Chicago,
Right.
so
Oh
you
yeah.
know y'all know y'all street with the top lawyers, right?
Right.
I'm gonna say Lakeshore Drive or whatever because I'm just St. Louis. I don't know, but you can't be having a legal aid clinic as representing you in a divorce case that basically a free legal team, and then you come with a Lakeshore Ave lawyer to go and sue R. Kelly, and then you went to a grand jury, you went through this process, you went through a whole process. Shauna Boylicker pointed you over to Susan Logan. Susan Logan's pointed you to, no, I'm sorry. You came with Michael Manners. You
Mm-hmm.
went to the grand jury. You left the grand jury. They pointed you to Susan Logan's. Susan Logan said that I can't handle this. Then you went to David Dre Pritchard. All three of these people are medical malpractice doctors.
Right.
So why did you go to the wrong doctor in this case to even argue this type of thing? You just went to any type of lawyer, but you didn't go to the right type of lawyer. So and then you see a pattern or whatever of when she was going through the process of suing R. Kelly, she got $650,000 as a settlement, as basically go away money. However, during this same time, she filed as an indignant person.
Mm.
So if you file as an indignant person, indignant means that I am not able to be above the threshold. The threshold at that time was
It's
18,400.
called. It's also called informer propis or something like that in
Right,
Illinois.
yeah, right, yeah, right,
Hold on a
right.
second. I'm agreeing with your character evidence. What I'm curious about is what would be admitted into the courtroom. That's the
So
issue at hand, because it depends on what court we're talking about, because you're looking at the federal statute, which I like, but you just
let's
saw
go
the
to
Illinois statute. The Illinois statute reads differently, right? So in Illinois, certain evidence wouldn't be allowed into the courtroom. But let's continue reading this federal statute. Go ahead.
okay. So when we go right here,
Hmm.
this says this is basically right here. Then we go on exceptions for a defendant or victim of a criminal case.
Right.
The following sections apply in a criminal case. A defendant may offer evidence if the evidence pertinent trait, aka character trait, or if the evidence is admitted, the prosecutor may offer evidence to rebut it.
So
Which
here we go. We're back
right.
at that word again, pertinent trait. So and that's what kind of caught me up, because I believe what we're going to find in this is the same thing we found in the Illinois law. You can only bring relevant evidence into the argument. So if all that other stuff that you were saying, where she profited off her relationships and she basically screwed everyone over, it wouldn't be pertinent and it wouldn't be allowed into under the rules of evidence, a character evidence. It wouldn't be allowed. But just keep reading. I want to.
Well, let's stay right there before we go on.
Okay.
Because basically, right then, if we throw everything else out, we could take two isolated incidents. We could take 2003 and we could take 2009. In order to take 2003 and take 2009, we have to bring in 2004 and we have to bring in 2007 and 2008, because
Right.
this is very pertinent, because the prosecution is going to argue that he paid it out, that he
Right.
paid out money, therefore he is somehow guilty, or he reasonably should have had some guilt, because the statute is not just are you guilty, but are you reasonably guilty. And so when you go in to say that this person was below the poverty threshold, which means you made less than $18,400, but all of a sudden you show up with an attorney that costs $1,200 an hour, that's problematic. And
Not
that's
really.
pertinent.
No, that's
That's
not.
pertinent to this case,
No,
bro.
because some lawyers
At this
work.
point, we need a judge. At this point, we need a judge, because I'm saying that it is, you saying that it's not. I'm going to argue it's not going. We're gonna argue
Well,
both
let me
sides.
let me say why it's not, that is not problematic. It may be pertinent, but not problematic, because some lawyers will work on contingency. I think this is what it's called, basically, whereby if you win, then we'll just take a huger chunk of the proceeds from the lawsuit. But if you lose, you don't have to pay anything. And by it probably being R. Kelly, and probably by them kind of like playing all the angles, they probably figure it was a good risk. I don't think she paid
At
those
that
lawyers.
time, at that time, you go on to show motive, which is right here in the permitted uses of it. So it
Let's
says
talk about the.
it be admissible for another purpose, such
Hold
as
on,
proving.
can you hold on a second? Can you hover the mouse over or scroll down where you at?
Okay, permitted uses right
All
here.
right, scroll down, because I got something in the way of the screen. Okay, perfect. All right, permitted. What's the prohibited uses? I want to read that first. Evidence of a crime, wrong, or other acts is not admissible to prove, and that's what I'm saying. So first off, let me just tell you up front, everything that you said in that video, I agree with 100%. But this is a cold game. This is a cold game. You can't even talk about all that stuff, because they're going to try to bar you from even bringing all that stuff up. So you're looking at and I haven't seen that video in a while, but when I found this Rule 404 in Illinois, basically I realized that although you know the person is trash and you know that they conniving, but you can probably have people to basically testify on all the stuff that that person's done, but you can't even get that in the courtroom because of this rule. So when you look at prohibited uses, evidence of a crime, wrong, or other act is not admissible to prove a person's character. In order to show that on a particular occasion, the person acted in accordance with the character, right? So the only evidence that you're going to be able to bring in is the prohibited evidence. The evidence may be admissible for another purpose, such as proving motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, absence of a mistake, or lack of accident on request by the defendant in the criminal case, right? So you can't even get all the evidence in. I think the only evidence that R. Kelly may be able to get in is the recordings or other people talking about how she loved, giving, I'm not going to say that word on here because I want to keep it clean, but how she loved giving, what. But all the other stuff, I don't know if they'll be able to bring it in.
Fellatio is the word that you want to use.
Okay, because I don't want to get that flag.
Right. You saying you don't want to say sucking dick, but it's fellatio.
So you gonna lose monetization on your video, dog.
This opinion, bro. We don't worry about that type of shit.
The computer gonna pick you up, dog.
We don't worry about that type of shit over here, man. The people fuck with me, bro. They gonna cash at me whatever I'm missing. And
I ain't getting no cash.
Well, then that's because nigga, you don't ever show your face, nigga. You know what I'm saying? We know you could be Levi in this motherfucker. We got Levi on the phone. Levi on the phone. So let's bring it back. All right. So I'm gonna pivot from right here. We're gonna go over to the Illinois statute, right?
Let's go to Illinois. Now, Illinois really gonna stop all that. So Illinois only limits certain amount of information in the court.
Okay, right. So let's read through this. Right. So first off, we got to go all the way through this. We got to go through.
Can you enlarge? Because I don't think they're gonna be. You know what? Let me find you live because I actually
404 and 405 are the same. Let me see here. 404. God damn. So 404 and 405 are basically the same statute. So I'm reading it. So evidence of a specific person's character or trait of character is not admissible for the purposes of proving action conformity therewithin on a particular occasion, except the character accused in a criminal case, evidence of a pertinent trait of character offered by an accused or by the prosecution to rebut the same. So when you go to that, then you have to come out. You have to go out of that, right? And then you have to find out what specifically mean by pertinent.
Right.
Okay. Pertinent is basically pertinent and good character or basically interchangeable terms, right?
No, pertinent. No. Pertinent means relevant or applicable to a particular matter or opposite. I don't even know what that word means, but particular. Pertinent, relevant, or applicable to a particular matter. So basically, you're only going to be able. So when they try to cross-examine with Lanita Carter, they're only really supposed to bring up stuff as it relates to the issue at hand, right? They can't get her to talk about her past relationships unless her past relationships involve fellatio. You see what I'm saying?
As a defense prosecutor, as a defense counselor, I'm going to argue that you have went back 20 years to bring this issue up against my client. I'm bringing all of it up. And then I'm arguing the appellate court rights because I'm telling the judge if she don't allow this, then I'm immediately going to exercise my ability to file an appeal. See, this is the difference between. No, I won't. This is the difference between like arguing law and looking up the definitions.
You'll lose, baby. You'll lose.
I guarantee you, I won't. Because you still have to argue the appellate court. It's right here. This is the reason why it's called a defense argument. You're arguing something, right? It says evidence of a person's character or trait of character is not admissible for the purposes of proving action in conformity therewithin on a particular occasion, except the character accused in a criminal case, evidence of a pertinent trait of character offered by an accused or by the prosecution to rebut the same. That means that you, as the defense counsel, have the right to bring stuff into evidence, but the government reserves a right to rebut it. That's what
Right.
that's
Oh, of course, of course. If they don't catch it, if they don't object to it, so they're basically going to object to it. So when you go down that line of questioning, oh well, tell me about your ex-boyfriend or your ex-husband. Objection. You're going to get an objection right away, right? And then it's going to be up for the. I believe you're going to get an objection right away, and then it's going to be up for the judge to basically decide whether or not it's a legitimate objection. She's going to either sustain it or overrule it. Let me see. I was actually trying to go to Justia Law and try to get some case law, but basically, from my understanding of this statute, and like I said, I'm not disagreeing with the content of the video because the content of the video was extremely good. But
I disagree with you, man. I'm just gonna tell you that off top. I disagree with you. You
but
offer me bullshit arguments, man. For
huh?
real. I'm saying you offer me bullshit arguments, man.
No, I'm
I'm just
not. It's the law. It's the
these are bullshit arguments, bro.
law. It's the
Because
law. What you talking about?
I'm telling you when it's pertinent to the situation at hand. If she was
I
going
agree
through a
with that.
divorce,
I agree with
if you're
that.
going through, it's pertinent to mention that I'm going through a divorce with a legal aid clinic, and then now I hop on an attorney that's making several millions of dollars per year,
That's
and
not
then and yes, it is because you
no
have to
because
still prove motive. You still or have to prove motive. However you want to twist this around, you can offer me 50 arguments. I'm gonna offer you 50 goddamn arguments back the same way, and we
so you're
still gonna.
saying you're saying you're saying that it's pertinent because you're trying to prove motive in the sense that she's trying to run game. That's why you said
I'm I'm first off, let's take a step back.
take a step back.
We are arguing a criminal case. Would you agree?
For sure. That we're looking at criminal
Okay.
statute.
What's the burden of proof?
The burden of proof is for the prosecutor.
No, what is the burden of proof?
Like, what do you mean? I'm not understanding what you mean. What your question
You
is.
got 5 burdens of proof. You got
Oh, you're
reasonable
gonna have
doubt.
to educate me, man. You're gonna have to educate
Yeah,
me.
right. So we have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay.
It is something to doubt right here when a person is going through something. And let's get past 2003. Let's go to 2009.
Okay.
She goes back and she says, "Oh, he made a song called Hair Braider about me." You can go to the patent office, the trademark and patent office right now, and look up the name Lanita Carter
Right.
and see that she has a copyright or a trade design on a specific braiding pattern. And then what the evidence is used, no, because what they have done is they have gone out into the media and found this guy to be publicly harassed this guy in Surviving R. Kelly 1, Surviving R. Kelly 2. She went to the national news media with her lawyer, Michael Avenatti, who was convicted. She came out after Michael Avenatti was convicted. The fact of who her personal conduct lawyer was, that draws a huge red flag, but I'll continue or whatever. So with us having to go beyond a reasonable doubt, well, it said that he spit on you 6 times in one instance, then
Right.
7 times in another instance. That's reasonable doubt.
Right. Oh, for
And
sure.
under reasonable doubt, then you go on, you have foreclosure in 2007 and
Right.
2008, and then you not only do you go have a foreclosure in 2007, but your son is in JROTC, and you put in arguments saying that I got a military son in the house in order to stop your foreclosure, and then you stop the foreclosure there and get foreclosed on again. Then 8 months later, you pop up and you find an opportunity to sue R. Kelly again over something that you don't have a copyright or trademark.
I think I see where you're going. You're saying it's pertinent because she was in the situation where she needed money, and she was constantly running all these scams to basically get money with the military son and all the other stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah. Because listen. When you are saying pertinent to the incidents in this case,
Right.
if we take out, we just got to go to the two main years in question here, 2003 and 2004, right? Because I had enough evidence to do a second video on Lanita, but I stopped right there because, she's not credible based off of Cook County records alone.
Right.
I
think that's a better argument. Your argument is probably to challenge her credibility. I can't even say
that. And you have to remember that this very court that is bringing this case now chose not to bring the case 17 years ago when it happened.
Right.
That's pertinent. That's huge.
Right. That is. But I just don't know that all that history, her personal history, is going to be pertinent, because we're talking specifically about the criminal charges against him for, sexual abuse. So one of the things they probably would do, they're just going to object and say, how is any of this relevant to the sexual abuse? That's what I think is going to happen.
Again, she went before a grand jury. A grand jury chose not to convict.
Right.
Lanita Carter in and of herself is not strong enough to convict. They had to go and get 4 other bitches
to sure.
give validity to Lanita Carter. Lanita Carter has made 2 conflicting statements. So you have a for-profit motive in 2003, because it's pertinent. If we bring in all of her, everything that I brought up was in relation to things that she said.
I know,
but when she's talking about this case, bro, let me get the point. I'm gonna give you the floor. When she's talking about this case, and she said, "Well, I wasn't getting paid that much, but I was bringing her 3 times a week, and I was getting $100. And after I paid $20 a piece for my 3 kids, and I did a $20 taxi ride, I wasn't even getting no money. Money is an issue."
Right.
So you have to show the history of money problems at that point.
Right.
But so that's how it's pertinent, man. It's pertinent.
Here's the problem with all that. Here's the one problem, and probably the one reason they're going to say it's not pertinent is because everything you said is correct, but those are arguments that could have been made in the the civil suit against R. Kelly. We're talking about the criminal suit. And because we're talking about the criminal suit, her character is going to be limited, or questions of a character, I believe, they're going to object, and they're going to try to limit. And believe me, I'm not trying to advocate for Lanita Carter. I read this law because I was looking up something else, and I thought about it. And basically, the arguments or the questioning is going to be limited to character evidence as it regards to her sexuality.
So
anything above and beyond that, I don't think it's going to be admissible because it's not pertinent.
So let's go into the case law.
Okay. What you using, Justia?
No, we going into, this is Illinois.gov public. Public. All right, let's go. Let's start up here. Let's see which case laws apply. Aggravated sexual assault is committed when one commits criminal sexual assault and the one statutorily delineated aggravating circumstances exist on the commission of the offense, including that the accused caused bodily harm. Because of the statutory offense of aggravated criminal sexual assault does not prescribe a mental state, the mental state of intent and knowledge of recklessness is implied. If during the course of sexual assault the defendant caused bodily harm to the victim, the state need not prove that such harm was inflicted knowingly or intentionally to convict a defendant of aggravated criminal sexual assault. An inadvertent or accidental infliction of simple bodily harm is sufficient. The court correctly convicted defendant of an attempt aggravated criminal sexual assault where the state proved that the defendant intended to commit a sexual assault and inflicted bodily harm on the victim, even if the state were required to prove that the defendant intended to. So that's about bodily harm.
Right.
That is not what they're alleging. The
Right.
defendant was charged with aggravated criminal
You
sexual
probably
assault.
need to search on character evidence or a
Hold
permissible.
on, hold on. We on sexual assault, right?
Right. I
So
mean, we're on sexual assault, but the context of this conversation is what's admissible and not admissible in the sense of character evidence.
okay, let's see here.
Because this is just going to give us line after line of sexual assault case law.
Taking okay. So okay. So let's see here. Let me
Character
see.
evidence. Or you can actually search for the rule.
Okay, let's
Or,
see
or
here.
what is it?
Character, Illinois.
Character evidence.
Character,
Let me see something. Let me see
So
something.
basically, we have to go all the way through this. I mean,
Yeah. This takes time.
this really need to be kind of a video series or
Yeah.
what have you, because the reality of it is just that
But you
just
understand what I'm trying to say.
no.
I think
Well,
there's
it's
a risk
right.
that some of the stuff wouldn't be admitted in court. Your
all
video.
of it, all of it reasonably would be admitted into court because again, this is their stuff. The prosecution bought this case, and
I got
so that's because listen, right? The last part of when you get ready to go to criminal court, right? When you get ready to go to criminal court, then you have the prosecution has to turn over discovery.
right.
They have to turn over discovery. And they have to give you a full character profile of who they're calling as a witness. That's within the Brady doctrine. That's just within the Brady doctrine alone that they have to go to who it is that they calling as a defendant. So within the Brady doctrine, then that has to be disclosed during the
I got
discovery
something
process.
for you. I got something for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me share my screen.
Go ahead. Let me take this shit off. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is. Let me know when you can see it.
See here. Okay, got you.
All right. So this is a case. Illinois Supreme Court. The people of the state of Illinois versus Willie E. Enoch. And when you scroll down, they're talking about character evidence, and it basically. And I didn't read this whole thing. And you're right. This takes a lot of time and effort to kind of research so we can have an intelligent conversation on it. But anyway, it says following the suppression hearing, the state made an offer of proof asking that evidence of other crimes unrelated to the murder of Kay Burns be admitted to show the defendant had the intent and design to commit rape against the victim. Over defense's objections, the court admitted evidence concerning the two prior incidents. As to the first, Luella Burnside testified that on March 6, 1983, the defendant raped her. She said that having locked herself out of the apartment at about 4 a.m., she was walking in her neighborhood looking for her husband who had her keys. When she met the defendant, he pulled a knife and stabbed her in the back. Damn, this dude was vicious if it's true. pulled her into a garage, threatened to cut her throat, told her to remove her cloths, and then raped her. After raping her, he told her he would tie her hands being behind her back loosely so that she could escape after a few minutes. Um, so we don't really need to read all of that, but basically, what I'm trying to highlight is that they had to petition the court. They had to ask the court to basically submit that evidence into court. That's all I'm trying to say. And this was evidence of other rapes, other rapes, asking that evidence of other crimes unrelated to the murder of Kay Burns be admitted to show evidence. So the only thing I'm trying to point out is that you just can't bring that evidence into court. That's all I'm trying to point out. You have
Okay.
to try to get it into court some type of way. My argument is that they're going to try to block that evidence from being brought into court. Like if it doesn't, I think what's going to happen is that when R. Kelly lawyers go to question Lanita Carter, they're going to try to object to anything that has to do with her past.
Okay, so then I got something for you right here.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let me blow this shit up. Give me 1 second. All right, so when we go to the People versus Freeman, right? It says the rape shield statute, Illinois, 115.7 prohibits emission of evidence of the prior sexual activity or reputation of the victim of a sexual assault with two limited exceptions.
Hold on a second. I lost my train of thought. I got distracted. Start over again. I'm sorry.
The rape shield statute, Illinois criminal statute 115-7 prohibits emission of evidence of the prior sexual activity or reputation of the victim of a sexual assault with two limited exceptions. This is to prevent harassment and abuse of a sexual assault victims where their sexual history is irrelevant to whether they consented to a sexual contact with the accused. A statement of alleged victim of sexual assault to an ER physician that she had not had sex did not defeat the purpose of the rape shield. It did not defeat the purpose of the rape shield statute. It was properly admitted as an exception to the hearsay rule as a statement made by a sexual assault victim to medical personnel for the purposes of diagnosis and treatment. So here you see that certain documents were permitted into evidence.
Oh,
And
bro, no,
yeah,
that ain't how
yeah,
that reads. That,
that
bro,
is like,
look. Well, first off, this is not character evidence. I just want to point that out. This is not character evidence. This is scroll up a little bit. This is something to do with some type of rape shield
this
document.
is all sexual
Rape
assault.
shield, but it's not.
This is
We're not. It's not
we,
character
we
evidence.
we are arguing sexual assault. So the sexual
But
assault
we're
case
talking
law,
about character evidence,
and you're talking about no. First off, the thing was a pertinent trait.
right?
Pertinent meaning pertaining. The key word
Right,
of
right.
pertinent is to pertain. How does it pertain to this case? This pertains to the case because he's being charged with sexual assault.
Prohibits admission of evidence of the prior sexual assault, sexual activity, or reputation of the victim. Yeah, so this actually proves my point, right? Because the rape shield statute prohibits admission of evidence of prior sexual activity or reputation of the victim. So this is actually worse than
With
what I thought.
two
Hold on a second.
limited exceptions. With two
Right, but hold on
limited
a second.
exceptions.
No, I
No,
get that.
you didn't complete the sentence. Keep
Okay,
reading.
sure. Let me read it over. Let me read it over. The rape shield statute, 725 Illinois Civil Code and Procedure, 115.7 prohibits admissions of evidence of prior sexual activity or reputation. So this is character evidence of the victim of a sexual assault with two limited exceptions, right? So basically, everything is prohibited except for two situations. And then it just basically says its purpose is to prevent harassment and abuse of sexual assault victims where their sexual history is irrelevant to whether they consented to sexual contact with the accused. The statement of the alleged victim of a sexual assault to an ER that she had not had sex before did not defeat the purpose. Yeah, it doesn't tell us what those two exceptions are, though. It doesn't.
It says its purpose is to prevent harassment and abuse of a sexual assault victims to where their sexual history is irrelevant to whether or not they can sit it with the accused. Okay, so to prevent harassment, um, to prevent harassment, right? That's one, right?
Right.
Then
And
the statement, a hearsay statement, is where it's an exception to the hearsay rule. So if I'm arguing my stuff, it's just hearsay by the state of Illinois. That's what I'm going to argue. It's hearsay. Again, you can't. It comes down to the way that your lawyer argues the case,
for sure.
and she is a hostile witness.
You know what?
She's a
I'll agree to this. I think if I'm not a lawyer, of course, neither of us are lawyers, but if I was a lawyer, I wouldn't ask her. I would try to get the information on the record indirectly. Like I would ask questions that were pertinent, but try to ask in a way to get her to talk about her history and all this stuff. But I don't think that you can directly ask her about, her courting, her evictions from her home or foreclosures, because none of that is going to be pertinent.
Now I wanna show you something, right?
I found something else, but I'll let you go first.
Okay, so right here, right? I want to show you something. This is very key, right? All right, do you see this right here?
I can't see
Where
it now. Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
you see where that's highlighted, right?
right. That's the Illinois statute.
Okay. Okay, so the basis of your argument is whether or not it would be permitted, right?
Admissible,
So
right?
right, so let's write this down. So 725 Illinois criminal statute 5115-13, right? Now we're gonna go right back for a second, right? Just
Yeah.
give me a few minutes, right? All right. Now all right. Now it says the evidence of a person of the or trait is not admissible for the purpose of proving action or conformity there within a particular occasion, except in a criminal case where evidence of a pertinent character is offered, right? In a criminal case,
Of a
and
pertinent trait of a character's offer. Go ahead.
all right, cool. But of subject to the limitations imposed by 115 of the criminal code procedures, and then this is 115-7. And so when we arguing that or whatever, then this tells you that everything in 115-7 is an exception.
Okay, let's see 115-7. Did you bring that up?
115-7. Okay, let's see here. Illinois. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Let me see if I can find a better viewpoint of it because I hate the way the Illinois write their damn case laws now. Shit.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah. Okay. So. 15. Okay. Let's just see here. Okay.
And prosecution for predatory. So that's basically predatory criminal sexual assault of a child.
Let's see here.
That's not going to apply to Lanita Carter. So that's what it is. It's a predatory sexual assault. So small.
To be held in camera in order to impeach a witness. Okay. Less than 45 time and place and combination.
This is not going to apply because It's not going to apply to Lanita Carter because because this is not going to apply to Lanita Carter because it's criminal sexual assault of a child. So when it comes down to Lanita Carter, it's not going to apply because Carter is not a child. So there's no sense of us reviewing that.
Give me 1 second. Okay, yes, it is. Because if you come all the way down right here, it says the court shall not admit evidence under this section unless it determines in a hearing that the evidence is relevant to the probable value of evidence and outweighs the danger of unfair prejudice.
Right, but the problem, but hold on
That's
a
the
second.
argument point.
But
That's
it's not. Look, can you read the top part of it? The very top.
It says which part? Which part?
115-7A.
In process. All right. Fuck. I gotta blow this shit up.
Yeah, I know it's small. You're gonna go
This is
blind.
why
I
don't. I hate this shit, yo. I hate.
Don't go too far. There you go.
In prosecutions for predatory criminal sexual assault of a child, aggravated criminal sexual assault, aggravated criminal sexual abuse, or the criminal transmission of HIV, and in prosecution of battery, aggravated battery, and when the commission of the defense involves sexual penetration or sexual conduct as defined in section 11.
Oh, you're right. It might apply.
Yeah, man.
It might apply.
I mean, come on, man. I'm cold with this shit, dog. I'm cold with this shit. I'm cold. Dude, the top three lawyers in the country said I'm that nigga, man. I'm trying to tell you around this motherfucker, man.
All right, so go back to what you were saying. So
Can I get
this proves my point, though. The court,
it don't prove your point.
It does. Go ahead and read it. Just go ahead and read it.
That the evidence is relevant of the probative value, it outweighs the danger.
Read it again. Read it again. No. Go back. Go back.
Going down here, man.
Right. See, the court shall not admit evidence. Hold on a second.
Bro, you good at what you do, but you don't have an understanding of what you do. Right? You don't have an understanding of what you just reading this shit verbatim, but you don't have an understanding of the application of this shit, man.
Listen.
I'm a defense lawyer. So all I need to do is find the slightest crack in the law, and I'm gonna rip that shit all the way apart. It's right here.
Let me read this to you. The court shall not admit evidence under this section unless. So let's stop right there. So the court. Hold on a second. The court.
Go ahead.
The court decides.
I want you to read through all of it.
I will. But we need to stop right here. The court decides what evidence is going to be admitted and what's not going to be admitted. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm trying to point out to you is that before anything can be discussed, a court is basically going to the judge is going to decide what you can bring in that court and what you can't. And if they try to basically bring in Lanita Carter's history into court that doesn't pertain to the criminal sexual assault, I believe the court is not going to admit it, right? And if the defense lawyers for R. Kelly tries to question Lanita Carter about her history that doesn't have anything to do with this criminal sexual assault, I believe that the prosecutors are going to object. That's all I'm saying.
Do you know that discovery has not been turned over in this case yet, man?
Oh, I didn't know that. I figured they would have turned that over a long time. You can't have no case without.
Man, come on,
you can't have no case.
You arguing with me about this shit you ain't even studied, man. You know that you ain't know that the damn discovery ain't been turned over.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't keep up with all the details. I know. Actually, when it comes down to like one of the federal cases, I think the federal case in New York, the discovery has been turned over because I actually did a video on that. But yeah, I don't keep up with everything that's going on. But you can't have a trial until that happens. I know they turned over.
It goes back to a Brady rule violation, of which I already said that once you turn over the discovery and the background checks, which is probably the last thing that happens in the discovery process, then this is going to be in the court records. It has to be in the court records.
Sexual activity.
That has to be in the court records. A background check, man, a background check has to be in the court record.
Actually, hold on a second. I'm still reading the statute. I don't think the background of an individual is going to be pertinent. Such offer of proof shall include reasonable specific information as a date, unless the
I
court
never
finds that
argued
the
the
reasonable.
background.
Huh?
If you know, I never argued the background. If you notice, I didn't really argue. I said I put the dick sucking video in there. I said
Oh,
I would not
that can
argue
be
it.
admitted. That's
I
one
would,
thing that's
I
going to
would
be
not
admitted.
argue it. I wouldn't argue that because you need something for the appeals court. You need something for appellate court. So
Right.
you don't argue every single point in there. You leave something in that you did not argue so that if the defendant loses, then on appeals you can argue I had ineffective counsel. It's called legal strategy, man. You don't argue every single point.
I mean,
So even when we read right here, it says no evidence should be admitted under this section shall be introduced. Right. No evidence admissible under this section shall be introduced unless ruled admissible by the trial judge after an offer of proof has been made at a hearing to be held in camera in order to determine the defense has evidence to impeach the witness in the event that prior sexual activity with the defendant is denied. So you can offer it to impeach the witness. So this is basically saying throw this motherfucker off the stand.
So I'll agree with you on that, but what I'm trying to basically point out, I mean, it says it right there, so there's really nothing for me to agree. But what I'm trying to point out is that you have to get a judge to sign off on that. You just can't go into court and say, yeah, we're going to talk about Lanita Carter's eviction. We're going to talk about, her past boyfriends. A judge has to agree with that, and I don't think a judge is going to agree with that. The judge is probably going to be like, look, you need to just limit the conversation or the questioning to the incident at hand. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't know.
So do you think that her settlements are going to be brought up in court?
I think that if they do bring up, hold on a second. It depends on what context.
No, I'm just asking you a simple yes or no question.
Ask the question again. Ask the question again.
Do you think that her two settlements she had with R. Kelly are going to be brought up in court?
Yes, they will be. They will be.
Okay, then
that would be pertinent.
Her whole financial history has to be brought up then.
Interesting. Why do you say that?
Because what they're going to do is first off, you sign a non-disclosure when you took a settlement, right?
Right.
You took a monetary settlement, right?
Right.
Basically for compensatory damages, right? So that basically means that you were so hurt that $650,000 healed your pain, right? And then another $100,000 healed your pain.
Right.
So who's to say that you're not here right now for another monetary settlement to heal your pain, being that you already went to NBC, CBS, CNN, and did a sit-down interview with what's the girl named Jerika Duncan or whatever her name was. You got paid for that.
Right. That's a good argument.
So,
that is a good argument.
Bro.
That's a good argument. That's a good argument. Because you basically saying she's hopping on the bandwagon to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's obvious. Dude, all I need is like this. Okay? I need this much skin. I'm a slick motherfucker like Michael Avenatti. Even if Kales did this shit, if I went to court, I would make them walk up out of there and doubt everything. I don't need to discredit everything. The matter is beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right.
Beyond a reasonable doubt. If I give you an inkling of doubt, you cannot convict my client. That's all. And I'm a moonwalk out that bitch.
Right.
I'm gonna tell Kale get on top of it. I'm gonna tell Kale get on top of your sprinter with some pajamas on and start moonwalking in that motherfucker, man.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, hey man, look, I need to get something to eat, man, before I, go to bed. I really shouldn't be eating and going to bed. But look, I enjoyed the live. We got to do this again. I'm still
Definitely.
not 100. It's a good argument, but I'm not sure if it's allowed. I'm going to do some more homework, and if I, find that anything out of the homework that I do, then we'll have another session on this. Otherwise, we'll have another session on something else.
Next time we have a session, though, you gotta send me what we're gonna be arguing about so I
Oh,
can
for sure,
prepare.
for sure.
I
This
want you to tell the people that all of this shit is coming off the top of my head, right? And you hit me up at the last minute for this shit,
right,
but all
right,
this
right.
is coming off the top of my head,
Oh,
right?
for sure. It's coming
You
off
were,
the top
you
of
were
my head too.
prepared. You were prepared.
No, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared. I told you that I watched your video and I thought the video was cold. And I was like, damn, this is a good ass video. I mean, like, he made some really good points. And then when I saw you come onto my channel, I was like, oh, well, this is what I want to talk about. Because I think when you came on my channel, you was like, we need to do a video. I don't even know what you commented on, but you was like, we need to have a live session on this. I was like, cool. But what I really want to talk about is this Lanita Carter, because after watching your video, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I ended up coming across the character evidence. So I'm not 100% sure that you're going to be able to talk about the settlements. And even if you are able to talk about the settlements in the trial, I'm not 100% sure that you're going to be able to talk about her financial history and all that other stuff, because it's really not relevant to the criminal sexual assault. But you got a good argument there. No, I'm agreeing with you. You got a good
No,
argument.
no, no, no.
It's a money
I'm
grab.
saying on this, for the purposes of this, you are arguing kind of as the prosecution, right?
No, you know what? To be honest with you, like I said, I don't support Lanita Carter, but I just got stumbled after watching your video and then coming across the character evidence. And, so that's why I wanted to, talk about this. That's all.
But what I'm saying is that your point would be something the prosecution would argue, right?
I believe I'm not arguing as a prosecutor, but I believe the prosecutor is going to argue this.
So to that argument, see, the prosecution basically shot themselves in the foot, because anything that they bring up, any type of argument that they want to use, the way that I argued it right there is that one of your arguing points, you're going to have to let in other things to basically rebut against your arguing point.
Right.
So if you argue that, well, he should have did it because look at these settlements. Well, then now we got to bring in your financial history because you bought up money.
Right.
If you bring it up, well, he has a history of sexual assault. Let's look at your sexual history.
So how do you think? So let me ask you a question, not to interrupt you. How do you think the settlements are going to actually be admitted into the court for the?
If they listen, I'm going to win either way. So if you bring the settlements in, I'm going to destroy the settlements. If you leave the settlements out, that's one less thing I got to worry about. I don't see where I'm.
If they leave the settlements out, then you don't get the character evidence.
How?
Because basically the argument you just made is that you get the character evidence by way of the settlements, because basically the point is going to come up that R. Kelly paid her out, and she only is doing this now because you can see from her history that she was on some money grab type stuff, and she was basically doing all this bogus stuff to get money, and this is just another way for her to get money. But if the question of the settlements never come into play, then how do you get the character evidence in?
How do you get the character evidence in? Well,
because
you have to argue the nature of the crime, right? Because as we know it right now, Lanita is only a part of the Chicago state case.
But hold on a second. So, not to keep interrupting you, but I guess what I'm saying is that the nature of the case is criminal sexual assault. you don't get the foreclosures into the case. You don't get the fraud where she claimed her son was a military or a part of the military or something like that to delay the for. You don't get all that juicy evidence in the case without the settlement.
How did the case come about? How did she get admitted into the case?
Because she claimed R. Kelly criminally sexually assaulted her.
But it was thrown out before the grand jury. So how did we get here today?
I don't know. That's a question for the prosecution.
My point exactly.
Right.
If you can't explain how we got here today, then I have to grasp at straws to find out why we're here. So if we're going all the way back to 2003, right?
Right.
Because this is not a trial happening in 2005. This is a trial happening in 2020, and at this point, it's going to happen in 2021. So
right.
At that point, it's going to be 18 years that pass. So you show up with a lawyer who's a fraud.
Right.
I mean, what's your motive? You were paid twice. What's your motivation to be here?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. And then you ask the judge. You ask the judge for permission to treat her as a hostile witness.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I just want to make you aware of. So it's the prosecution's choice to bring this back up again. We don't know that Lanita Carter actually called in to say, hey, he sexually assaulted me. I want him to be punished for the sexual assault. As you know, they already had this case in 2003, and they decided not to. When was it?
Hold on. Say what you just said over again, bro. You talk real fast.
Okay, when did they bring up this case against Lanita? When did Lanita Carter first bring this case up?
She first went to the grand jury back in 2003.
Right. So
September 19, 2003.
Right. So what I'm trying to say is that we don't know that it was Lanita Carter's choice to be put in this case again.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't. We don't.
Because yes, we do. Yes, we do.
This is why I'm saying this. Listen, just hear me out.
You ain't did no research on your own people, man. Lanita Carter went on national television and she said that when I heard the prosecution put out a call for people to be for people to step up if they've been abused by R. Kelly, she said I could not miss this chance.
Really? Okay, all right, correct. Hey, I stand corrected. If she said that, I stand corrected. But my thinking was this: we don't know that Lanita Carter actually had a choice, but if she said that, then it was her choice. Because you know what I was trying to say? I was trying to say the prosecutor can decide whether or not they want to bring up this old stuff or not, because they already had the testimony and they already had all the alleged evidence. They could decide whether or not they want to bring it up. But if you're saying she said that, I'm just going to take your word for it.
Don't take my word for it. I'm going to show you the goddamn TV interview. You know what I'm saying?
No, we ain't got to do that. I mean, if she said it, she said it. I mean, I can go and look at it myself. I believe you. But hey, look, man, I'm finna get off and go and get something to eat. I enjoyed this conversation. We definitely have to do it again. If not on Lanita Carter, we got to do it on something else. As you know, the hottest thing out now is the one guy that was shot in Georgia. Yeah, have you done any research on that?
Nah, but I mean, shit, man, it's a defense argument, bro. We can argue opposite angles of that.
Right.
You know, we can argue.
All right, so let's do this. So the next time we hook up, we're going to talk about that, because then we have to look at case law on. So the issue at hand is the law at hand is probably the core law at hand is probably going to be citizens arrests. So, and there's a statute for citizens arrest, and then there's case law on citizens arrest. So that's what we're going to be.
I'm telling you, dog, listen. When we argue with, I got a whole clique of people called the boots on the ground, bro. We got a position in the boots on the ground. That's for you.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think
I'm gonna let you be my co-counsel, all right? I'm gonna let you be my co-counsel. You know what I mean?
No doubt. We
got a position just for you. You feel me? You might as well go ahead and join the boots on the ground today. You feel me? You can go ahead and join me. And listen, I'm gonna make you a cold lawyer too.
Well, I enjoyed the conversation, and
Ones like this, you know what I mean?
no doubt, no doubt.
You know, you're gonna be having a bad bitches in the strip club. You know, you're gonna be sending a cease and desist out next week, man.
You're a fool, boy.
I'm telling you, man.
You're a fool.
Listen, you tell me whatever case you want to argue, and I guarantee you, I'm gonna come through, man. I guarantee you.
All right. Well, like I said, the next live session is either going to be a continuation of admissible character evidence, or it's going to be the situation in Georgia. Oh, or it could be. I just did a video series on the Savages because they actually released a video of R. Kelly's previous living quarters, and one of the questions that pops up is, are they liable for invasion of privacy, false light, and then someone else pointed something out to me called droxing. So
that's criminal trespassing, man.
I don't think trespassing is going to apply, and here's why: because more than likely, Azriel's name was on the visitors list.
It don't matter.
Or either it was on the visitors list, or she's a she lives there. Her name is basically on the list as a resident, not the visitors list. And because her name was on the visitors list, she was allowed to go up. Another scenario could be that they said, well, hey, I left some things up there. Azriel went there and said, I left some things up there. I need to go back up there and get the rest of my stuff. And
you understand that they got access control at the Trump Tower, right? That somebody had to let them up there, and she had left. She left. If what you were showing off from inside the house was all Robert's possessions and Robert's belongings, it's a thing. It's a statute under the law called knowing or reasonably should have known.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Should have known that was his that was his house.
Well, she knew.
West Wabash Street or Road. I mean, you from Chicago,
right?
Everybody knew that Robert stayed at the Trump Tower.
So well, she knew it because she used to live with him there, so she knew.
Yeah,
she knew.
Again,
but the problem is the problem is if they have authorization to go up there, trespassing doesn't apply. Trespassing only applies when you don't have authorization.
Now listen, you have the rules of privacy come in two places, right? If you in public, but in somebody's private dwelling quarters, then they have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Expectation of privacy.
For sure.
So they breach his reasonable expectation of privacy.
Well, I tell you what. It seems like you like this one. Let's not waste this conversation in this live. We already had a good live. I'm finna go and get something to eat. I'm finna, set up camp. So I'll reach out and schedule another live with you, and this will be the topic if you choose so. But it seems like you like this topic pretty good.
I mean, look, boy. I before you leave, I just want to show you this little video that I did on Tim Savage. My belief, you know what I'm saying? That they were trying to send her in there. You know what I'm saying? I got this. I got the whole girls come in. Listen, man. Listen, I got the whole Savage family. I got the whole Savage family. It's a 2-part series.
Okay.
2-part series.
Okay.
It's a 2-part series. You know what I'm saying? So listen,
I'll check it out.
I'll fuck you up on Tim Savage too, man. Listen, you might as well just go ahead become part of the Boots on the Ground pool. You know what I'm saying? We need a non-lawyer. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you to be a non-lawyer. What you talking about?
Listen, bro, I can't be a non-lawyer. Alan Dershowitz already told me I am a lawyer.
Oh man.
Marlena right here can testify to it.
Right.
If you go on Dr. Rogers live from yesterday, Lisa and Kelly both told you I mean, the lawyers and co-sign me, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is just keeping it real with you. You know, listen, it's a spot over at Opinionated right here. The Opinionated Non-Lawyer Co-Counsel, and we're gonna bring the Boski on as a third legal team, man. Third legal team member. Now, of course, I gotta be lead.
Right.
I gotta be lead. You know what I mean? But you can be a co-lead.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
I gotta be a co-lead. I gotta be a
But,
co-lead.
I got to be the lead. You know what I mean? But you too nice. Fuck that. You gotta take the mask off in this month.
No, I gotta keep the mask on, man. The mask is what keeps me safe.
On. That's what I'm saying. We can't see your face, so that's why I come.
No, I'm never showing my face. I have a life, man. I have a life.
I got a life too.
Well, let me say this. That was disrespectful the way I said it, but I like to keep my life private and personal. When I step out my door, I want to focus on the issues. There's two reasons. I want to keep my life private and personal, and then also I want to focus on the subject matter. I don't want the subject matter to be about me as a person. I want the subject matter to be about whatever it is at that time. But hey, man, I got to get off this live, man. I got to get off. I got to get off. But look, so the next time we hook up, we're going to talk about the invasion of the potential lawsuits against the savages, whether it's trespassing or invasion of privacy.
We got to set a time, bro. We got to set a time.
I'll reach out to you via email.
No, that ain't gonna work. That one ain't gonna work, bro. We gotta set a time like now, so that I ain't gonna be able to order that last minute.
What's the rest of your week looking like?
I
would prefer Friday. I would prefer Friday night or
Friday at what time?
7.
7 Central Standard Time. Let's make it 8. Let's make it 8.
Is on 8 o'clock, right. And I'll email you to work out the rest of the logistics, what we're going to talk about, so on and so forth.
All right, bet.
All right, man. I enjoyed the session, and I'll let you next this Friday.
Definitely. Appreciate you for stopping through.
All right, later.
All right, y'all. As you can see, you know, we had to go to court, shit. So we had to go to court. You know what I mean? So he need to go ahead and join the legal team, man. You need to go ahead and join the legal team, right? I mean, I'm telling y'all right now. Matter of fact, shit. Let's have y'all call in. Let's have the people call in. Let's have the people see who won that. I want the people to call in and tell me who won that argument. Okay. Let's have the people call in and say basically who won that argument. Okay. All right. So go ahead and give us a call in. The call in number is 430-183. Y'all can I want the people to call in and say who y'all. The people need to call in and say who they feel like won. Let me see right here. Go ahead, man. Y'all need to call in and say who y'all feel like won. Of course, I think that I kicked his ass personally. One, because this nigga hit me up all last minute and shit. You know what I mean? He hit me up. I'm telling y'all, all of this shit came about 20 minutes before we went on live. That's why it's key that you go in and start breaking these cases down on a GED level, period. It's key that you go in and start breaking cases down on the GED level. That way you can, you can retain all of the information up here. You know what I mean? Because he tried to come in or whatever, get a nigga all balanced. But like I say, you got to know these cases inside and out. So, y'all can call in, give y'all thoughts and opinions on that. Now, to another order of business, right? something that's gonna make my YouTube video get struck down tomorrow. But I don't care. I don't give a damn. Right? Let's see here. YouTube.com. Right. All right. All right. How you doing, caller? Thank you for staying up late with us. You are on.
Yeah, man. Well, I stay up late anyway. But let me step away from the topic. Yeah, the reason I called in, man, because I actually think you won that argument for the simple reason everyone knows that the prosecutor, his job is to object to certain evidence. But the thing of it is that something is going to come in. And once it does, her whole life is just wide open. Mm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm. And I have been to 3 trials. I have, and never got a witness stand because my lawyer advised me not to get on the witness stand because of that. Because they were going to bring in, excuse me, my past. So most times when you see people go to trial, they don't get on the stand because of that reason. Mm-hmm. So what dude, he was saying, well, that's the problem to
you still with us, brother? Hold on, bro. You getting distorted and mixed up and stuff. Hold on. Give me one second. All right, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, he man talking just running around the because you got a prosecutor and you have a defense attorney. The prosecutor has a job, and so does the defense attorney. Once that woman, she was addicted, you know what? Oh man, says that. I mean, you feel me?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's also, so, and it's just ironic, man, because I was looking at something today, and they was talking about stated in a book that she had written. She but her aunt was old. She stated she had been raped later on by the same guy. I'm saying to myself, well, wow, if she put this in a book, if she don't bring up charges, but why won't the state pick up the charges? Because the state can't.
Hey, brother. Hey, brother. I'm gonna have to call you right back from another number so that I can hear you more clearly because you're getting chopped up. All right. I'm gonna call you right back. I'm gonna call you right back. Let me write your number down. I'm gonna give you a call right back in 5 seconds. Okay. You hear me? So answer the phone. I'm gonna call you right back in about 5 seconds. All right, 205 291 9760. Yeah. Oh shit, that dang line. Fucked around and called his ass right back. Hold on. 249 760.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you way better. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, man. But yeah, what I was saying earlier, man, if that chick get on that witness stand, she through dealing. I mean, that's just my opinion. Because I know how she can be cross-examined. And that's really just the bottom line, And any defense attorney, he's going to advise against it. Well, any prosecutor, well, I mean, they're really going to advise against her getting on the stand. And that's just the bottom line. That's just my opinion.
I mean, well, she can't, she has to get on a stand because she's a witness. She's a witness in the trial. So that in and of itself, like I say, she is very limited in what she could do, but they are still bound by what happened in the 2003, back in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Why did the prosecution choose not to move forward with you from 2003? And
because apparently there wasn't any evidence.
Right.
Apparently there wasn't any evidence in 2003.
Right. Well, they came back, they went there, and it's something that they are not saying. It's something that the government is not saying. It's something that both sides isn't saying. So whether or not she actually makes it to trial will be an argument for the court. But it's a reason why they chose not to move forward with that they chose not to move forward with.
See, they probably, in my opinion, didn't have the proper evidence. They probably just had her word, and they probably just chose not to go forward with that. Knowing that her word didn't mean anything, huh?
Did you see Surviving R. Kelly Part 2, Episode 3?
I saw some of it, man, but I knew it was all garbage, so I never really cared to watch all of it.
Well, so when you're looking at these cases, bro, you have to research everything. You got to study basically everything.
You really do. You really and truly do.
The thing of it is like, for me, right? So this guy, he wants to talk about kind of savages. So that means that I basically got to shut my life down for the next 3 days because I got to go in and reconsume everything in order to regain basically the talking points of these folks, right? So that's that, but I mean it's a lot of stuff that it's a lot of stuff, man, that just got glossed over.
Yeah, exactly. But then I want to say this to you. I want to cut you off and tell you this. One thing I do respect you for. It was something you I think you've done it maybe Sunday. I missed it, but I did look at it today. You stated that according, with the law is based on relationships, and that's really correct.
Right.
That's true. Yeah, because see, they all know each other.
Right.
I mean, you feel me? Right. They all play on the same golf course.
Well,
they all go to the same country club.
Well, with respect to the non-caller, though, in all seriousness, I'm sorry, the non-lawyer.
Yeah.
What it comes down is that you can't just read a law book and then start practicing law or start arguing law because at that time you don't have the spirit of the law. So if you don't understand the true spirit of the law, then everything else is going to be hogwash,
Exactly.
With him, it's the spirit of the law. And so when you look at it, you have to be able to interpret, okay, this is what they meant when they wrote that. And then it comes down to the way that your two lawyers kind of interpret what is being read.
Exactly.
So, it no matter what argument he would oppose, then I can argue it the opposite way. And then it's up to a jury to decide which one they choose to, who they choose to believe. Who they choose to believe, it could be either one of us. It can be
exactly.
With respect, it could be either person. And that's just realistically, it can be either person. So you have to be ready for it each way. But like I say, I like to be challenged on things because I do not take things from the premise that I understand and I know everything. Once you feel that you understand and know everything, you are not in a position to where you can grow anymore. You're not in a position
now you're right.
Where you can grow. So,
yeah, you're right.
You always want
but in my opinion, I don't personally think she'll make a good witness.
No.
I really truly don't. And that's just from her history.
The whole state case is full of bad witnesses. That's why Kim Fox, the state's attorney, chose to send it up.
Reached out.
Right. And that's where the federal indictment basically comes from. Is
and I thought that was kind of ironic, man, because I had never heard of someone doing something such as that, putting out a number. With her doing that, half of the population could have come forward.
Right.
If they do so. So I mean, why did they do that? That's like in New York, I think it was, put out a 1-800 number telling the Chinese, the Asian people, if they ain't discriminated, to call. Come on, why they do that? Have we ever had a 1-800 number of black people that we call? No.
Purposes of bringing this man down, and once they saw that they could not bring him down, then what they did was they went and got the federal people involved. But it's a reason there's no discovery in the Chicago state and the Chicago federal case because the case won't move forward.
I agree. I agree with you.
I mean, like,
yeah,
I thought something was some real was coming because, like I say, bro, when I start backing his ass up, I grab
right. See, this chick have a sense to do the Monica Lewinsky. She something.
It's problematic. It's problematic when you say, well, I had on a rose colored and I still got this shirt. How do you still got a shirt 16 years ago who preserved it?
I know that's real. But she probably swallowed the evidence. You feel me?
I mean, if they had sex, I mean, you can't bring in witness from 20 years ago. Because no person reasonably remembers anything that happened to them 20 years ago.
I know that's right. But but I personally think that that case probably will be tossed out.
Well, again, what the argument point that the non-lawyer was using is that it wouldn't be admitted to evidence, and then if you want to read it, it says that it will be admitted if you want to impeach witness. So if you try to impeach him, then right there you have probable cause, man, to basically to get it fixed out, man.
Yeah, I think it's garbage. I really do. I think it's garbage. So do, because what they're trying to do now, open up the book, they can come and make an accusation. But just screwed up, man. But you're doing a great job, though, man. You really truly are. Jaboski, BG, I could name a few others that have been great. And in my opinion, you all have done, like a lot of private investigating, dug into people's backgrounds, and this is what has to be done when you have a case like this. You gotta dig in, and find out what's going on with people. What's the objective for them doing this and doing that? And people gotta be accountable, especially in the past. And you can tell with those accusers, something traumatic happened in their life. They were children. Something happened at home. And the reason I say that because I once had a girlfriend that was much older than me. She was a lady. She would have nightmares. She'd wake up in the middle of the night screaming. And one day she finally told me what time it was. She told me that she was being abused by a stepfather of hers. That was something the family never did want her to tell anyone. But it does affect a person in their later years. And I believe one of those accusers that's doing all that, trying to rap, and which they can't do, and sing, and this, that, and other, she's going to tell her truth.
That's real?
Yes. Because it's obvious that something is going on in the household. It's obvious. And one day she's going to tell it. She's just going to get tired.
What do you think possibly could have happened?
In my opinion, I believe the father may have been messing with her. That's just my opinion. Because I've seen it happen so much.
I do too. I mean, from everything
I say, because I've seen it.
Player to player, pimp to pimp, girl, she was getting touched. Allegedly.
Yeah, I've seen it. Allegedly. See, I lived in a household once, and there was a girl in the household. She was about 12 years old. And they tell me she was a boss. with that head. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And I found out later on that her mom was setting her out because her mom was a crackhead. So, stuff like this really do happen. And see, that's what a lot of people have to really understand. You understand me? When you get the craziness and this, that, and the other, and that girl probably did have good intentions of becoming a singer, but she got up there and she saw that lavish lifestyle and she was like, fuck it. I'm just going to lay low and do this, and she wasn't thinking about no career or anything like that, because if you're going to rap, you going to the man to rap with. You feel me? Huh?
Right.
You was in the studio, huh?
No, bro. I'm agreeing with everything that you say. I mean, I want to take it a step further.
See, that's the time to rap. That's the time to rap when you're up in the studio with him.
I mean, I want to take it a step further to where her father was on social media saying things such as, well, all he had to do was give us a song. The girl was not ready. That. I can't give you an R. Kelly plug for if I didn't want you another
I saw
man.
That.
You another man. So this makes sense to you, bro. You got children. You sound like you got grandchildren at this point. You got grandchildren?
Me?
Uh-huh.
I have 8.
Okay, so you got 8 grandchildren. So, you done raised kids. Those kids grew up, and then those children had children, right? And now you help them raise your grandchildren,
Mm-hmm.
So as a man, you had some point in your life where you had to make a decision, right? And you had to you had to do something, and in order for you to reach a certain goal, then it was some level of sacrifice that was given. So with I'm gonna talk about Robert Sylvester Kelly for a second. Robert Sylvester Kelly rolled out to California on the back of a motorcycle. Ass was chapped.
Slept on the bleachers or something.
You know what I'm saying? In order to learn about
he paid his dues.
You know what I'm saying?
He paid his dues.
Sung in a L train station until his voice went hoarse, right?
He paid his dues.
Ran down the street, was down to his last dollar. He was trying to hustle up a bus transfer, and then he ran into Barry Hankerson, who took him over the job, and he got a record deal. But before he got that record deal, he won a big break. So
I saw that.
From there, he went on to sell 75 million records. So how am I?
He paid his dues.
How am I just gonna put your daughter on a track for something she ain't really paid tithes and dividends for? She over here, she food, living in my house where I'm paying the rent at. I'm giving her tens of thousands of dollars. I'm a busy
I would have never done.
I'm a reasonably busy man. But that tens of thousands of dollars that she has access to, she couldn't go down the street to Columbia College in Chicago and take up a class, take up opera singing.
I know that's right.
You know what I'm saying? To tighten up her skill. She couldn't take up piano classes, flute classes. She ain't take up a guitar class. She just sat there around getting fat for 5 years.
Getting fat. You right.
For 5 years?
See, that's one of the reasons that don't feel something, because they all had opportunity, and you have to take advantage of opportunity. The opportunity was that you was around a musical icon, and if he's sitting up there playing the keyboard, then I'm going to be like, I'm going to learn the notes. I'm going to learn C, D, E, F, and G, and I'm going to learn. But if he doesn't see the consistency in you wanting to learn, and then he's going to treat you like, oh, hey, I mean, cool, you here, but I see now you're not really into the music thing. You can't sing, you can rap, let's, sit down a rap track or something like that. But if you're not into it, then why should he, keep trying to make something that you don't want to be? Exactly. And that's just the bottom line. And that's the bottom line. And see, that's why the parents came in that way. She's up there with him. She ain't another Mariah Carey. She ain't this. That's what the other books.
Mr. OG, that's why I'm gonna call you Mr. OG. Now, she said, you say what now?
The monster called me Mr. the other day. He kind of read me off on the chat.
See, yeah. I'm gonna call you Mr. OG, man. Now, Mr. OG.
That's cool.
All right.
That's cool.
Now she says Robert, he beat me with a shoe. He was probably trying to beat some talent into her ass because we done seen her rapping, standing over there looking all boxy with some two big fake breasts. All right. So
don't talk about the breasts.
He beat me.
Don't talk about the breasts.
You said what now?
I said don't talk about the breasts.
Oh man. Listen.
You know, they used to say that in Living Color.
Listen, man. Listen, if we weren't in mixed company, you know, I would go off on a tangent on that one. But
yeah, go ahead.
You know, now she was just mediocre. Robert,
just mediocre.
On national TV and basically said that she was she couldn't sing. He said they sent her over there to sing and she could not sing. So
she can't
sing. She was over there, and what the father is mad at, he really mad at the daughter, but he using R. Kelly as a proxy. The girl didn't have no goddamn talent.
Not for singing. She could probably get by rapping, but not singing.
She couldn't get by rapping?
Well, I'm just trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. No, because the reason I said that, because it doesn't take much to be a rap star. You feel me? That's why I said that, because this shit they got out now, I wouldn't even buy it. Go ahead.
But you can't, even if you want to argue the fact that she is a rapper, right?
Mm-hmm,
you can't be a victim and a vixen, all right? You can't be a victim and a vixen. You got to pick a lane or whatever. She wants to be basically a hood rat. The hood rat shit is not believable. When we see Cardi B rapping, Cardi B, we know Cardi B come from the strip club. We know that she done bossed up and stuff like that. So Cardi is somewhat believable. When we see Megan Thee Stallion, I mean, Megan Thee Stallion is less believable, but let's just say that she is, let's just say she picks the lane of Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion is,
I like her.
She's sort of believable. I think that she embellishes a lot, but what rapper don't embellish? With Azriel speaks like a damn 5th-year college student. So you trying to be a hood rat rapper, that shit is not sellable. You know what I'm saying? It's not marketable. Then
no one's gonna fool with her.
Huh?
No big producer's gonna fool with her.
Yeah, it's not believable, in my opinion. It's not.
Yeah, I can think what you're saying.
It's not believable.
Yeah, I can think what you're saying. Yeah, I just said that she could possibly rap. I was trying to give a young lady the benefit of the doubt. But actually, she has no career, and she's going to have to come to the realization of having to cope with the real world, because you're not being taken care of in Chicago.
Right.
Now you're back home, and now you're in the real world, and you got to face real problems that real people face. You got see now you got to come with it now, baby girl. Because first and foremost, no one is going to fool with you, because no one likes a feature. That's number one. And when you first put up Old Boy's record, and I saw that shit, I'm like, God damn, this nigga got more charges than John Gotti, and he was the Godfather. You can't be nothing but an informer.
Yeah.
With a record like that, huh?
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. You got a family history where your daddy is a rat. You under his tutelage, right? Now, I mean, she's over there. And see, the thing is that they run these games on weak-minded people, where they present that they got more evidence than what they got. You know that they don't have, Azriel and them don't have no evidence because they still talking. If they had the evidence that they said they have, they would be quiet.
They would be quiet.
Been quiet, man. They talk every chance that they get.
They certainly do. They really and truly do. And another thing that I couldn't get over, is the fact of her coming on television. Coming on that live, cutting that guy's jacket up, cutting R. Kelly's jacket up. And I'm like, now this is premeditated. For the simple reason, you can hear the mom in the background telling her what to use. Well, look, we're going to use this. So that's a crime, that's a crime within itself. And I was glad to see that Greenberg did get it right when he put that in his motion of her destroying this man's personal property because it's been,
A little birdie had to drop that in on Greenberg.
Well, he did get it right that time.
Birdie is out in the chat. Say hey. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, he got it right that time. You feel me? And see, I'd be bringing charges upon her ass. Cutting up a Versace jacket? Oh, baby girl, you can afford to buy that for real. You know, but be that as it may, man.
I mean,
the young lady, I really feel sorry for to a certain extent because she has no career. No one is going to touch her because, like I said earlier, no one likes an informer. And in the recording industry, you have a lot of going on in the studios and this, that, and the other. And, you know, I mean, who wants to snitch around? No. We don't want you here, baby, secretly recording us and what we doing. You feel me?
Well, I think it's like this. You are a man, you got some daughters, right?
Right.
All right. So when your daughters want your attention, sometimes they throw a temper tantrum. And I like in what she does, she throwing temper tantrums. She throws a bunch of temper tantrums.
She does that because she knows she can get away with it. That's the reason. And see, that's why I say what I said earlier, something traumatic has gone on in that household. She has something on them. And this is the purpose of them letting her do what she want to do. Because they know she can bust them down. Yeah. And once she do, their ass are going to jail. Because something happened in that family. I mean, it's classic. You know, anyone can see it. You understand me? You know, something jumped off. And she's holding on to it. But one day she's going to release it. Yeah. When she finally comes to the realization that after R. Kelly, she's nothing, she just may tell it. Yeah.
Well, when they get a chance to regroup, right? When they get a chance to regroup, then you are going to see the difference, man. You get a chance, you're going to see the difference, right? If Robert ever gets out, if he's granted bail this week,
then I hope he do.
I'm going to say that it's highly likely, given the fact that, again, the government is going to have to put up a hellified reason of why the judge is going to be under a microscope if she denies bail this time. So, again, heads are going to roll. And you know the heads are going to roll because every time that he puts in a bond motion, then cutting up of shirts come. The Savages want to do a release campaign where they are showing pictures inside of his house or whatever. Like, and as a man, you know that's against a man code for you to be up inside of another man's house while he not.
Let me show you the key to that. Let me tell you something.
Neither. So you a trust.
Guess what? Guess what? The Trump Towers keep records.
Right. Yeah.
And so all you got to do is just do the research on how was they allowed to go there? Who gave you the authority to go into this man's apartment that he no longer lives in, that no one lives in? Exactly. Why were you allowed to go in there? Huh?
Exactly.
So now the Trump Towers got to step up and explain why were they allowed inside that man's place. Exactly. You feel me? Exactly. Yeah. So Greenberg is going to have to address that.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, yeah, just so much fucked up shit, man. You know, I mean, I wish a motherfucker would come up in my joint, dog, and I'm not here. Yeah. No, and I hadn't authorized you to come up in my joint. No, man, you know, it can't go down like that, you know. No. Yeah, I mean, and then, let me tell you something funny. I saw that little tape R. Kelly made about them breaking in his house and everything, and what I thought was ironic about that is that the neighbor, so he saw a truck pulled up over there. And I'm like, damn, dog, all you have to do is call the authorities. Wouldn't no one even have to know you called them?
Well,
I don't know why people do that, huh?
From what I understand about the clip that you were talking about, he didn't
over Georgia, yeah.
He didn't understand what was going on till well after it had already happened.
You mean the man next door?
Yeah, when you're talking about.
But see, the problem I have with that is this. The problem I have with that is this. Even if you wasn't aware of what was going on, you still could pick up the telephone and let the police sort it out. No one would ever knew you made the call. You feel me?
Right.
I mean, that's just like if I see a truck pulled up next door to my neighbor's house in the wee hours of the night. I'm calling the authorities. And I'm going to let the authorities talk to whomever is there and let them sort it out. I've done my job, as being a neighbor, you know? So I just thought that was kind of cool that he wouldn't take the phone and do that. You know, something like that happened to me years ago. Something like that happened to me. Someone broke in a house I had, and the neighbor and went called the police. So, you know, shit like that do happen. Yeah, it does happen. Yeah. But getting back to the old girl, yeah, I think she's just really screwed up. I mean, even she just, you know, can you imagine just stepping outside of your house and people know who you are? Oh, you that girl. I mean, you understand what I'm saying, man? You go somewhere to try to get a job. Oh, look, that girl. So, I mean, God, she's screwed up, man. She really is, in my opinion.
Yeah, she is. I mean, she is.
I think.
You know.
Yeah, I think she is.
That's just what she is, man. But I mean, listen. She is the star witness of the Eastern District of New York case, and judging by her behavior last week, the Eastern District of New York does not have a case because you can't tie into all of these damn accounts that Robert was supposed to have had for a man that's dyslexic. And when you go and look at the discovery on this case, these are complex financial systems. Okay. He's a master of music. So you might say, all right, playing the kid E flat. He can go and play that. But to be a master of accounting and money laundering, no. The case don't fit.
I know. Yeah, I know. I think I saw somewhere, or either I read it somewhere, where he had stepped into the bank or something for the first time or something. And they told him he only had $300,000 in his account.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think I would pass out in the lot of the bank. I'm like, what the fuck? You mean to tell me 30 years? This is all I got. Yeah. The problem with that is it. Once you hire people, you gotta hire other people to watch people you hired. You gotta hire other people to watch those people that you hired.
Right. Well, I mean, listen. You have schemes, you know. You have schemes. Everybody was skimming off of the top. So
I know, man.
Knew how much money he had at any given time because it was a skim in effect, right? If you watch the movie Casino with
yeah, I seen.
You know, so remember when the movie Casino come on with Robert De Niro, and it says that we were bankrolling and running casinos out of Kansas City, Missouri, right? And then he said we learned about the scheme, right? He said we learned about the scheme, right? And then the scheme basically meant that everybody was skimming a little bit of the money off of the top. Some of the money was getting skimmed here, some of the money was getting skimmed there, but they basically learned about the scheme, right? And so, you know, from there, man, you have to look at it, man. Everybody was skimming, man. You had stuff like the royalties was coming in from Sony. And the guy over at Sony, his name was Eric Custer, right? Eric Custer had redirected his royalties into 6 different companies, right?
Damn.
So each one of these companies, they all was basically named RSK. They was slightly different. So he only thought that he was getting you know, so much royalties when in fact he was getting a lot more royalties than what he was actually actually receiving. But all of the money was not coming in there. So you had Daryl.
Yeah, see, those people need to be prosecuted.
Yeah, I mean, reasonably speaking, man, I'm gonna say you probably got about 2 bank accounts, right?
Me?
Huh?
I got a couple, yeah.
Yeah, most reasonable people might have 2 bank accounts, but for this man, even as an international superstar, for you to have 10 different bank accounts at different banks, I find that reasonably suspicious. Especially when some of your money is in Bank of America, some of your money is in Chase Bank. I find it suspicious that, you know, you had money going all of these different places. And that's what was happening with Robert. He had money going a bunch of different places, and everybody was taking a cut out of his money everywhere, you know, every step along the way somebody was taking a cut out of his money.
But you know what I think, man? I think once what you just spoke about, if that comes out in trial and this, that, and other, and see jurors, once the jurors look and see what this man is actually, he can't really function good as far as reading and writing, they're going to, I mean, they can see the writing on the wall. And it only take one juror, just to hold out, and I surely think he's going to get vindicated himself. That's just my opinion. Because the case is so screwed up, man. I mean, it really and truly is. But shit, Greenberg should have had about 7 or 8 private investigators on. Because all this stuff has to be brought out. All that stuff that you named. Yeah, all that stuff needs to be brought out in court at some point. You understand me? Yeah, because he made too much money to have a 30-year career and to be broke. It just doesn't make any sense. It don't add up. That's some shit they were doing way back in back when Little Richard them. You understand what I'm saying? Just outright taken like that. But it's ironic, man.
Corrective measures are being taken, right? Corrective measures are being taken right now, as far as with investigators and stuff like that.
That's what's happening. That's what's going on. Yeah,
it took a while, but this coronavirus is as horrible as it is to say. This coronavirus was a good thing. By the way, if you have been scammed by the R. Kelly Defense Fund, please mail your receipts.
No, brother. No, brother. No, brother. I'm not the one. Because I'm gonna tell you why. I do research. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? I do research, and see, the thing of it is, and then see one thing about that too. Also, I'm not talking it down or anything like that, but I'm just saying research on certain things. And like I said, it was this one lady I was listening one night. She called in a certain person and told them that she had sent a couple $1,000, and she wanted to know where her money had went. And that person would never answer her directly. Never gave her a direct answer to the question. He kept going around the mulberry bush, and in the end, she still didn't get an answer.
Who was this?
This was a lady that called in one night on a certain person's live, and she was asking about where did her money go, that she had sent several $1,000s. And the person would never answer her. They never would give her a direct answer. They took her around the mulberry bush, and they still never gave her a direct answer.
So do you think you can get her to send her money to I say, do you think you can get her to send her money to the MA1? I'm sorry, her receipts to the MA1 investigations group at gmail.com?
Well, she may have already. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I just do know I did see that. And she did call in, and she was asking about the money. Where did the money go, and this, that, and other. So hopefully. But see, one thing about PayPal and all this other stuff, you can track all this stuff, man. It can be traced. And that's the thing. They trace all that. So it may take a minute, but it can be traced. And that's how that works.
There you go. There you go. So, I mean, hey, man.
So if it was fraudulent, I'm just saying, if it was, some people are going to get in trouble. And I just back away from it if I was involved in it. But even then, if it was fraudulent and they start questioning people, they're going to tell on other people. And that's just the way it goes.
Hey,
you
said no truer words, man. No truer words. So
well, I know how it go, man. I know how the game go. So you have to be a very strong individual to keep your mouth shut. You understand me? Just like with John Gotti. John Gotti said Costa Nostra, until he died. You feel me? He wasn't telling nothing, huh?
Basically, what you were saying on a GED level is you keep it gangster to the core.
All the way. He didn't open his mouth. He didn't say nothing. John Gotti said, y'all bring it on.
So do you think somebody like Angelo Clary could roll with John Gotti?
Nope.
You think Asriel could roll with John Gotti?
Nope. See, first and foremost, Angelo record. Oh, hell no. See, first and foremost, Angelo record is too long. With that being said, they have a 3-strike law.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of the time, when you find someone with a record that long and don't have money, they're talking. Because that's the only thing that can keep them out.
Mm-hmm.
Money or talking, one of the two.
Well, I've never heard somebody admit to several racketeering acts on live cameras. See, typically gangsters don't talk, but
I know, yeah.
He committed. He basically committed several racketeering acts live on camera, and no criminal charges have been filed.
That's because he's an informer.
I mean,
one reason being,
there you go.
He's an informer.
He wasn't the only informant. It's some informants that claim that they got a relationship to R. Kelly that he don't know about. That they said some people who R. Kelly's
I can believe that.
That say that, Robert.
I can believe that.
And they cool. And I mean,
I can believe that. When I was in the game, man, you know what frightened me the most? When I was in the game, what frightened me the most was the people around me. I knew the police.
When you was in what game? You was a PI?
I used to be in a certain game.
The Sporting Life?
No, it was something else. But anyway, what used to frighten me? Okay, yeah, what used to frighten me was the people around me. I knew the police had a job to do. I knew their job, but I always kept an eye out for the people that was around me because of the jealousy, the envy, and shit like that. And so, luckily, nothing ever really happened to me, and thank God.
Yeah.
And even being because I had a powerhouse. I had 2 powerhouse attorneys. And I like to tell people this. Every state has a powerhouse attorney. Every state.
Listen. And
when that lawyer walks in that courtroom, he gets all the respect in the world.
And listen, when I was a participant in that similar game, we gonna call it tennis, right? We gonna say we was tennis players. God damn it! When I played tennis, I was afraid of my teammates too.
Exactly.
Because everybody wanted my spot. Everybody wanted to, have my level of talent in doing it. But it is, sometimes people are just ordained to be great at whatever they do. Whether you are moving within the lines or outside of the lines, some people just have a calling on what it is that they do.
Right.
I was one of the people that God gave favor to. You know what I mean? So I looked up at a certain point in that game, and I said, you know what? I done made it out unscathed.
Exactly.
If I keep on playing, sooner or later I'm going to
get my head gonna happen.
And there's been too many close.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Exactly. Now, see, she explained it very well. Tracy's point. She lived it. Her father of her children. I think she said the other night, he's been incarcerated 27 years. And they threw that racketeering shit at him. And the people that was around him, some of them got a little flat on this, but then he got a life sentence. With that being said, you really have to watch people that's around you. You really and truly do. And that's just the bottom line. But like I said earlier, every state has that powerhouse attorney.
There's a few.
And
there's a few.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every state. Because I had, like I said, I had 2. And one of my cases, I had 2 powerhouse attorneys, and I knew my fate before I even went to court. I mean, you feel me? Because that's what they do, dog. They get together. Well, hey, look, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. You understand me? And that's just how that shit rolls. And so that's why you made a good point about the law. It boils down to relationships, and it really do. You understand what I'm saying, man? I had a case one time. My lawyer came to me. He said, "Look here, dog. this, so, that's just how I go, man." You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
so,
I mean, listen. I have respect for the non-lawyer. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes
this shit he was talking about, man. I'm just gonna be honest. This shit he was talking about, because what pissed me off with him was this: the prosecutor has a job to object.
Mm-hmm.
That's the job. Mm-hmm. But either way, something is gonna come in. I don't give a damn what you say he's gonna object to. Something has to come in on this broad. And when it does, she's through dealing. Homegirl is through dealing. And that's just the bottom line. You want to bring up a dick sucking charge from what, 18 years ago?
There you go. I mean,
how do you do that? How do you do that? Why do you do that?
So this is the thing, right? My dad was a labor lawyer for 40 years. Well, I said was, he still do labor law, right? So my dad told me, I think I was 13, 14 years old. He said, son, he say, listen, he say, a good lawyer knows law, but the great lawyers know the legal field, you know what I mean? And if you showing up, you can have somebody that know all of the laws, and that shit is good. But if you don't know how to rub shoulders and rub elbows, and if you ain't got a lawyer that can call in a favor, then you're gonna be fucked up. See, one of the issues with Kels, man, not to cut you off, is that he got a lawyer that don't nobody owe no favors to. He needs some lawyers who niggas owe favors to.
Man, let me tell you something happened to me one time. Back in the early years, let's speak out of rough. I took big bitch down. I'm just gonna tell the truth. Chick I was sitting with hit me up at the head one night with a high heel shoe. I still got the knot on my head now. Anyway, I whipped her ass bad. Paramedics came to wrap their head with the gold. She looked like a bitchy mommy. You feel me?
You said you had to whoop your girl ass.
I whooped the shit out of her. The paramedics came and wrapped her head up with gauze. You know, she was a Egyptian mummy. That's how she looked. So, but that was in my earlier years when I'm doing crazy shit. So, police, I got a case, domestic violence, whatever you call that shit. So I go to my lawyer. The first thing he said, he's turning, what's your court date? I said, so-and-so. He said, don't worry about it. I'll be sitting on the bench. Did you hear what I just told you?
Mm-hmm. No.
Did you hear what I just told you?
Yeah, man. Listen.
When I went to court, and my lawyer was sitting on that bench, dog, it's dismissed. Home was crazier than a motherfucker. She was looking crazy as hell. But see, she just didn't. I mean, you feel me?
Listen.
And like you said.
Listen. I got a lawyer right goddamn now that I call. I done been in all types of crazy shit, right? Let's just say, man, I got caught with about 35. I got caught with a pack of tennis balls, right?
I got you.
Me and my partner, we was in the car or whatever, and I didn't know that this nigga had one license plate on the front of the car and another license plate on the back of the car. We drive in the opposite direction. This was heavy when I was in the tennis game. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to park the edge. Raphael dog. Cop hit a whole U-turn on us, come back around. I sat in jail, man, a whole weekend, man. A whole weekend, right? Because I had, hey, I was in tennis court. I mean, I was in tennis court, goddamn it. And come Monday, I had my brother come and pick me up from the tennis court, right? So I called my lawyer up that Monday morning. No, I got out on a Sunday, right? I got out of the tennis game on Sunday afternoon, right? I went in on like a Friday, a Friday night, and got out on a Saturday, on a Sunday afternoon. Well, when I got out, then I called my lawyer. She said, "What was it? Where was it at?" Nigga, $900, and that's all that she said. She said $900. I dropped 1,000. I said, keep the change. Listen,
no, that's right.
You call me, listen. I was out there. Listen, I was back out. So you just gotta have the people again. You can have a good lawyer that knows the law, or you can have a great lawyer that knows the game, that knows the field.
Exactly.
And you get somebody who owes favors. So it's politics, man. You gotta be buying them $1,000 tables to get some of that nasty ass hotel food, some of that nasty ass banquet food, because it's all about relationships, man.
It's about relationships. That's what it's all about.
I mean, you like it's an OG, right? There's a guy by the name of Bob Martinez, right? And me and my partner, we were going to buy a strip club. Like this was either last year, about a year and a half, 2 years.
You like them strip clubs, don't you, dog?
Me and my partner, we was getting.
You like them strip clubs, don't you?
I love hoes, man. I love hoes.
I don't care about them. Yeah, but go ahead.
Love hoes, man. So anyway, man.
Well, all right. But them bitches that get what I'm trying to get, that's the paper. But go ahead.
You say what now?
I'm trying to get paper just like they are. Go ahead.
All right, well, you know, each one teach one.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
yeah, I think.
You know, now,
let me cut you off and tell you something right quick. Let me cut you off and tell you this. I had a partner one time. This fool just come get me every day. Want me to go to the strip club with him. I said, man, I don't care about that shit, man. But I still go with him because he wanted somebody to hang with him. That nigga was being there spending thousands. Just throw us, man, come on. That bitches come over, shake their hands in my face, I look the other way. Because they always kept a low profile. And a lot of times you find a lot of big balling niggas want to go up in them strip clubs and this, that, and the other. But I mean, that's their business. You know, if they want a ticket like that, that's cool. But with me, I always kept a low profile. I never really cared for the clubs like that. But, you know, teachers on. But yeah, go ahead.
No. So basically what I was going to say is that it was a guy by the name of Bob, man, and he told me, he said, well, listen, man, in the game that you're trying to get in, the cops come and fuck with you. But what he told me to do is, he said, listen, what you got to do is you got to take you a check, take it down to the mayor, take it down to the politicians, the aldermen, right? He said, make sure that it's a check. Don't make it be cash. Send him a $2,000 check and say that it's a campaign contribution. And you're going to get all of your goddamn issues solved. And once you spend that money. See, so
I know that's right.
It's a thing of being technically correct. And then it's a such thing as a way that the game is played. And with the guy who I was speaking to earlier, he was technically correct according to the way he looked at it, but it's still the way that the game is played.
Exactly. Still the way that the game hey man, that's what I want you to do for me sometimes. I want you to look up a former judge's name here in my state. Jack Montgomery.
Who?
Jack Montgomery. Jack Montgomery.
Okay, what state?
Alabama.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he was so corrupt. He was very corrupt.
No wonder I like you from Alabama.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's where I'm from. But this judge, he was supposed to turn himself in, and with the feds or something like that, he killed himself. And after that, people start falling right behind him. And that's just going to show you how fucked up the system really is, man. You understand me? It just show you how fucked up it is. Yeah, but the judge had connections with other people and shit. You know, man, it was all fucked up. They don't even talk about it, man. They don't even talk about it. Yeah, but who?
The Jack.
Oh, you looked him up already? Yeah. You looked him up already? What did it say about it? Tell me what it say about it.
It said in August we're celebrating Birmingham's biggest crook, whether they be lies, thieves, extortionists, swindlers, or a 30-point series running daily until Birmingham Mayor Larry Langford federal trial. Thanks to
stop. Now let me tell you about him right quick. He used to be a TV anchor, and he got elected in the city of Fairfield. That's just like a little on the outskirts of Birmingham. It's still Birmingham. And he was very flamboyant, as a matter of fact. He would
Or he just had
No. He wasn't gay. What I mean by flamboyant, he was very materialistic. He had several different expensive automobiles that he would drive and park in front of City Hall, and this, that, and other. And what convicted him was that he was giving $1 million contracts to these contractors, and they was taking him to New York and different places buying him clothes. And I think they bought him a Rolex watch. And anyway, make a long story short, what he done, he left a paper trail. And the people who got the millions, they didn't serve any time. And they made an example out of him. They convicted him. And heal you, man, how corrupt. You have to make sure anytime you're black and you're in the public life site, you got to make sure you know how to cross all your T's and dot your I's.
Well, I mean,
and he was just
listen. It's if you follow my channel, man, I produce some shirts, right?
Always.
That was called the Kels Handler shirts, right? And basically, the purpose of me producing those shirts was to say that, a handler is basically anybody that was implemented the code segregation by Alabama. You know about the eugenics movement that was going on in Tuskegee back in the day.
Yeah.
Right. So I basically wanted to like, and I wanted to go back and really, kind of bring that to the forefront. Of things that people forget about. Well, people
sure do forget.
Yeah, man, we forget about just all afflictions and stuff like that kind of happen under the name or under the guise of being black in America, right? And so when you have politicians, but you have a historical abuse of public policy. You have a historical abuse of these politicians to where they come in and or derelict kind of in their responsibility towards black people. And this is something that a black person cannot reasonably pull themselves up by their bootstraps because it's against you as a black person, as a particular black man, but as a black race. The game is fixed.
Well, I want to tell you something about it. Now, we as a race, we do have to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. And as a matter of fact, when I got out of the game, and I'm just using that as an example, I started walking the straight path. And I started a business, as a matter of fact, with less than $40. And people laughed at me because quite naturally, that's what they're going to do. They're going to laugh. But I will tell people, you just keep laughing and I will have the last laugh. And one of the reasons I know that mayor that you spoke about earlier, because I was doing business with them over there in the area that, he was the mayor. And the thing of it is that what we have to do as a race, we have to stop telling ourselves that we can't do certain things. And I don't use the word can't in my vocabulary, because once you start using the word can't, then the next word is going to be won't. If I can't do it, you feel me? And what I started, with the business I started with under $40, and I'm going to tell you, I used to go out and I used to bid on cutting lots for the city of Birmingham. My license was $6.50. All I had was a raggedy ass lawnmower that I had paid $25 for. And my first contract was $5,000. That was my first contract. I didn't even have a pickup truck. And I went out there and I made that $5,000. I bought a truck and I just gradually grew. But it took hard work. And that's the problem with us as a race. We let other nationalities come over here and they can become very successful. They'll move, they'll put a store or something in your neighborhood. And because we don't patronize each other, and they become very slow. And the thing of it is, we as a race, we just have to tell ourselves that don't let them fail but a try. Don't let them fail but a try. We have to get out here and go at it, because that's what these other people do. You can go to these black neighborhoods, man, and you can find a Pakistani or Indian or Korean or something like that. One of those they're going to have some kind of business in your neighborhood. They'll have wives there with them who don't give a fuck about getting their hair done and their nails. They don't give a shit about that. They'll work 12-hour shifts. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, they come up, man. They come up. Mm-hmm. But what black woman can you have that you're going to get that's going to stand by your side and do a 12-hour shift? No, she wants to be in the beauty shop. She wants to go get her hair done. She got to get her nails done. Well, that's all good, baby. But look, I'll be the motherfucker that's going to be here with me, dog. I mean, you understand me? You know, and see, we just got to come to the point to, we got to realize that there's plenty of opportunities out here for us. We just have to take advantage of it. Just like your prime example, man. When they start giving out their stimulus money, a lot of black people missed out on it. And let me tell you why they missed out on it. They missed out on it because they didn't. DL loan, a non-pay loan. Use this fill out the application. I had a lady non-repayable. I didn't pull nobody couldn't tell. So what? And tell you, Trent, this is what I've done to start my business. Because he always want to keep you below him. Always. Mm-hmm.
Well,
they'll never tell you. I mean, you mean what?
This is the biggest thing, though, is that sometimes you have to sit back and you have to get an education, right? But I'm not talking about that bullshit that's key. You don't go to school for no education.
That's key also.
You don't go to school for no education. You got to because you got to be around made dudes. See,
exactly.
I have accumulated, right? I have grossed a lot of money in my life, but the only time I was able to keep money is when I was in a company of made men.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to be around positive people if you expect positive things to happen in your life.
Right. Yeah. When I was in a company of made men, man, my money was always straight. It was only when I was in a company
that's what I'm saying.
Ass niggas that I started having issues. You know.
Exactly. See, that's another problem with R. Kelly. He had all them nothing ass niggas hanging around him, leeching off him. Mm-hmm. That's just like once, man, I knew this guy. He played for the University of Alabama. I won't call his name. But he got drafted by the New England Patriots. And I want to think they say he signed for about $40 million. And I saw him one night in a strip club. Well, actually, before I saw him in the strip club, he had bought a house in the area in Birmingham that on his level, I never would have been in that area. And when I found out he had bought a house in that area, I'm like, man, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you want to move over there in that area, man, when you need to be in Greystone, dog? You need to be hobnobbing with the multi-millionaires just like you are. I mean, you feel me? Huh?
But that's a part of that education that I'm talking about.
Exactly. And right now, the day, the nigga broke.
Right. Well, you don't have an education. See, that was one of the things, man, that I had to learn is that I can't be the smartest nigga in the room. I can't be the richest nigga in the room. I can be amongst the richest, I can be amongst the smartest, but if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room, you know. So I got to ball. You have to boss up or whatever, because when you are surrounded by people who are getting money, then you by default have to stay getting money because that's the company that you are in. But if you're a broke fuck boys, then you gonna have to be the broke fuck boy because that's the company that you are in. You know what I mean?
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
And you know, I'm glad that you called in today because you allowed me, man, to speak a level to this that I'm not able to speak on many other times, which is when we look at this case right against R. Kelly, right? And you see that you know the girl Andrea said, "Well, he beat me, he beat me, he beat me."
Oh, that's bullshit.
Man, you didn't.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know. I can tell that you're an OG with some seasoning on. You know that when you're dealing with a broad like Azriel, that's the type of girl that you gotta choke the fuck out from time to time. Just to show,
pretty much.
Just to, you know, that's the way that you deal with that type of females. I ain't even trying to.
Well, that's what they know. See, you know, it's like this, man. An old man told me something years ago. He said, "Son, if you ever meet a woman without balls, don't buy her none because she'll be the first one to tell you to kiss her ass." In other words, what he was telling me, when you find a bitch down, leave her just the way you find her. You feel me? And a lot of times you find these ghetto ass broads. Just like, let me give you a prime example of something that happened to me once. I met a little old hood chick because, you know, I'm a hood nigga. So I meet the broad. I say, "Baby girl, let's go get something to eat." "I want to go to I God." You want to go where? I want to go to I God. I said, "Well, you want to go to Olive Garden?" She said, "Yeah." So I take the little motherfucker over to Olive Garden, right? I got about $60 in my pocket, you feel? So I'm sitting up there. Homegirl ordered all this shit. Now I'm drinking a cup of coffee. Waitress come over, the server. "Baby, you want to eat all this?" So the girl ordered so much food, man. We had to take this shit with her. But anyway, after that little shit jumped off, I said to myself, "Man, this little bitch." I said, "Next time, I'm gonna keep her ass right in the hood, what she used to. I'm gonna take your ass to McDonald's and get that Big Mac meal and supersize them fries for 39 cents, because that's really what it's to."
There you go, man.
But when
OG, I had this girl I was messing with, right? And you know, I bought her over my career, man, about 4 years ago at this point. So, you know, man, we basically, did
go ahead.
We did bird wrestling.
It made me think of something. Go ahead. I thought about something. Go ahead.
We did some bird wrestling, you know what I mean? So, after that, shit, I went and got her some of that Applebee's,
No, you didn't.
No, I mean,
go ahead.
I got her Applebee's and sent her about her way. We go out, man. She want to go to the Cheesecake Factory or whatever, like on Valentine's Day. So I go
they got one down here. Yeah.
I'm a hood nigga like you. So I take this broad to the Cheesecake Factory, and I come to find out that the Cheesecake Factory ain't shit but Applebee's, except everything like $6 or $7 more expensive. The shit is the same shit as Applebee's, same exact shit on the menu. It's Applebee's, but the everything around it make the shit look fancy. Anyway, long story short, we go to Applebee's or whatever, motherfuckers want to order appetizers, an entree, and a dessert.
Yes, but as long as you paying for it, they don't order it.
So, after that, I'm like, all right, bitch, all right, whatever, you got this one on. But after she pulled that move, I quit fucking with her because I can't deal with no bro like that. So
I know that's right.
So, long story short, she got my number as of recently, and she like, well, I apologize. I was, I was immature back then and all that shit. I'm like, all right, that's cool, but she came back to me, basically wanted me to drop everything because now she ready to fuck with a real nigga. And I'm like,
I heard that.
That's your fault for not being ready the first time around. You was on that.
That's all. Yeah, exactly.
You was on that.
Man, I had one time I met a little old hood rat, and so we shoot by the liquor store. she wants some Ciroc. So she grabs the shit, takes us up to the counter. The man said $30. $30. I said, oh, bitch, you better get you a pen of that Lord Baltimore. Fuck is wrong with you? But see what they do. When you send it out, they want the most expensive shit of. They never had before.
She better be better be good with that motherfucking absolute vodka. God damn it, shit. Talking about some absolute.
I told that bitch to get up pen of that Lord Baltimore. I think that shit was about $4 a cake. Talking about some Ciroc. Lost your goddamn mind. You feel me? What? But yeah, man.
This a real nigga phone
keep it
call
real
right here, man. I love you, though.
Just keep it real, huh?
I love you, man. I'll be trying.
Yeah, man. I keep it real. Here, yeah, I just keep it real, man. Yeah, I keep it real. But
she wants some man. Listen. I used to date this stripper, right? She used to get some peach Ciroc with my money, but Amsterdam with hers. I said, bitch, no, you ain't. You know
that's what I'm saying. See, I do shit like that.
Listen, I went straight down to Randall's or whatever, and I started buying all of that cheap shit.
I know that's right. I know that's right, man.
Listen, I mean, even you know how you know you ain't supposed to you're not supposed to you're not supposed to take stuff home when you take it to a function. See, I take Amsterdam to functions because I know how niggas are. I'm not bringing my good shit. I'm not bringing my Camis up in there. I ain't bringing my EBK6, right? I mean, my ABK6.
I heard that, yeah.
You know, I bring my bullshit liquor for bullshit niggas. You know what I mean? Now, we all in here, we on some XO, then we on some XO. You know, but niggas don't, you know, people don't understand that principle, man. Particularly these little hood rats, man.
I know that's right, man. I have been to clubs. I have been to clubs. Man, I have been to clubs where you may see two chicks at the table drinking big mouth slicks. You come over and ask about, bitch, you want something with an umbrella on it, a tall glass. No, baby girl, you gonna get your two big mouth slicks too for $1. And I just keep it real and just keep it moving, huh? Because they ain't talking to Boo Boo the food. No, that's right. But anyway, man. But it's a pleasure talking to you, man. But yeah, hey, now the other day when you put your number up, I tried to call and it was DJ Tyson I got hold to. Anyone tell you that?
No.
Yeah, you had put your number up the other day, and I said, well, damn, I'm gonna call in since I don't ever call in. And I called the number, and lo and behold, it was DJ Tyson. But it was all good because him and I, we had a long conversation and everything, and this, that, and other.
Listen, man, you a friend of the show, man. And one of these
I'm just trying to keep it real, man.
One of these days, we got on this show.
Yeah, I try to keep it real, man. And see, one of the things, in this case, like, you know, you can see, you know, clean through the garbage, man. And see, the thing about it is, once those potential viewers sit on that panel, man, and they see all this stuff with the broads and see the parents and how these broads carry on, man. I mean, it's very, you know, it's going to be an argument. That's my opinion. You feel me? Because it's just too much bullshit, man.
It ain't never been no part of the game to get on an open line and tell on yourself, right? That ain't never been no part of the game where you have ever seen a man get on YouTube, right, and tell on himself. You know, you have people in this case who have gotten on the stand and have basically testified that they have committed several crimes, man. And
I've seen that. I've seen that.
You know, I want to know, you know, when has this ever been?
Where they do that at?
You know, when has this ever been done? This is some brand new shit.
Let me tell you something about what you just said. Once they do that, by law, 20 years from now, those charges can be brought up on them because that's what they're doing to R. Kelly. That's what they failed to realize.
Yep.
Do you feel me?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and see, that's why when I heard about that chick, Faith Evans, whatever her name is, in her book, she stated she was being molested by her uncle. but you want to protect you, huh? Yeah, right. But you want to protect the uncle, but you want to take down the killer. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm running by that situation. The state can come in and pick up those charges if they chose to do so.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? Now, why isn't none of that shit being done?
Well, because
that's what people have to look at.
You have basically an isolated effort to catch R. Kelly. And once you get past that concerted effort to catch R. Kelly, then you're going to have some real law taking place, right? So what's going to happen is they're going to get out here and then they're going to find out that this is a fruitless case. Because you have a hard time convicting crimes folks did, particularly a proven dyslexic man. You have a proven man with a proven history of dyslexia, right? And so somebody's gonna have to answer to why it is that this man has dyslexia, but all of a sudden he was he was the king of R&B, but he simultaneously was this nigga at raping bitches ever. He was so basically financial structures or what have you. Got to prove that, right?
All like you're going on tour and doing different shit.
Yeah, I mean,
you're holding them in dungeons and shit like that, but you on tour.
We got a man that can barely spell, as we see on the screen right now.
Yeah, I saw that.
A man can barely spell, but this man is setting up complex legal structures, complex financial structures. Come on,
you're right.
This man is setting up complex financial structures. This is facts.
But it doesn't make any sense, man.
No, it don't make sense. It don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Period. The man that wrote this, if you trying to tell me that basically set up all of these complex money laundering schemes.
I know that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all, man. But I think, excuse me, I think once jurors get on the panel, and I'm quite sure the majority of the jurors are going to have children. And once they see where this one particular accuser was signed away, they're going to be like, damn, would I do that to my child? No, I wouldn't do it. So, it's just so much, man, that's so fucked up in the case. I mean, you feel me? And jurors have sense. I mean, they can see through certain shit. They can see through stuff. So, hopefully everything will go his way, and I hope they do let him out of that MCC. And anyone else that don't have a violent crime, you understand me, need to be released and stuff, especially if they can release all these other people. You understand? But the law just all fucked up, man. I mean, it really truly is, man. But anyway, look, man, my phone about to go dead.
Yeah, man.
I'll hit you up again sometime, man.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you for calling in, brother.
Yeah, okay. All right, man. All right. Have a good night. All right. Bye-bye.
Listen, if we can get one more call to close the show on out, it'll be appreciated, right? That was the OG, the Alabama OG in the building, y'all. That was the Alabama OG in the building, y'all. This is the letter on the screen from Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly. One second, y'all. This is, kind of, one second here. Let's see. If we can have one call, man, to go ahead and summarize this show so we can go ahead and get up out of here. We need one call to summarize this show. Go ahead and get up out of here. Let's see, yeah. Let's see here. Those of you who wanted to call in, now here is your chance to call in. This is your chance to call in. The number is on the screen. The number is on the screen. All right. The number is on the screen. If you want to call in to speak with yours truly, then call in. If y'all ready to call it a night, okay. What's going on, Tori Love?
The show was great, but we got to put Dorothy and Michelle in time out. And we should look the woods. And it's Steve, they cutting up in this. Trent, that was all pimp juice on the phone. He had us laughing, but the show was lovely. I mean, but he had us all cracking up tonight.
Pimping ain't dead, niggas just scared. You understand that? You know what I mean? I've been waiting on a real nigga to call up.
Boy, we was done. Dorothy typed in what he said about the girl, what he gonna do to her ass. We all was like, oh my God.
Y'all ain't ready for no real shit. Listen.
We wasn't ready for him though.
Y'all wasn't ready
but
for
I'm
no
glad
real
you put
nigga.
this up right here. This envelope, I hope they watching in the bushes because they tried to go and debunk Dr. Rogers and the sisters right after after they lied. They went on there with all that foolishness. I'm glad you got this envelope up so they can shut their mouth. But the show was live, but the non-lawyer, he need not come on here anymore. He's not welcome over here. Not in our world, because we like facts. We like Trent Cochran to put the facts out. So I'm glad you ate his head off his body. That's why he got on up off this. He got on up off your show because you went in for the roadkill.
I did back his ass up. I got a part my collar to myself that.
Oh yeah, you put some powers on. That's why he had to get out. He said, what you was talking about.
He said, but see the evidentiary rules of law. I said, listen, boy. He read it. I gotta go grab a bite to eat. You know, I gotta grab a bite to eat.
He ain't with us. He ain't rocking with us. He working on the mother people's side. So he tried to come on here really and try to debunk what you was talking about. He thought he had a damn fool on his hands, but you let his ass have it. Because we showed in the chat, if you see our chat, we was like, oh, wait a minute, he gotta go because we don't like what he's talking about. So he ain't for chaos, not at all.
Me and the non-lawyer are gonna argue this again on Friday at 8:00. On Friday at 8:00 is going down. I need all my boots on the ground people to send me an email because it's going down. We're gonna argue about we gonna
be here.
Huh?
But it's good you let him know what your credentials are because evidently he haven't been watching you long enough to know you got damn good thing.
Hey man, listen, I ain't responsible. It's the reason why because he a non-lawyer and I'm an honorary lawyer. You know what I mean? So I got my honorary law license from some thorough niggas. You hear me? From some thorough.
Okay, Cornell better put some pounds on him through the internet.
listen, I got my honorary law license from a thorough killer. You hear me?
Okay.
You hear me? So I thank him for coming on though, because he didn't have to do it. But what I want to stress to everybody out here is that I break this stuff down on a GED level. Therefore, I understand all of it. Again, this was not no shit that we planned. That's why the notifications came out late. That's why it went on late. Because again, this was some shit that happened 20 minutes before we went on. He sent me an email like, I know it's late, but you want to go ahead and do this? I'm like, all right, cool. I was gonna do it up on his platform, but I'm like, I'm the biggest thing is, right, if not being cocky or nothing, but it was what angle he was coming at. He's like, I want to show you this in law, and I'm like, well, shit, I could argue against that because it's several different arguments depending on what angle you are taking. What's right there, all you need is a nugget, and then from that nugget or whatever, I can argue whichever way I want to argue. But it still comes down to either you're going to let things in or you're going to keep things out. Once you keep things out, that's one less thing I got to argue. Once you put things in, then that's something else that I have to, that I got to argue. You know what I mean? So, again, this is something that basically got sprung up on me at the last minute, man. This is some shit that really, I was not prepared to argue today. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I wasn't prepared to argue that, and that's in all honesty.
You let him have it. So I said, there go my baby Trent Cochran. He had to go on it. Come on out.
No,
I saw we saw how you was looking like, hold up, wait a minute.
No, well, what happens is he basically did what the prosecution does is they try to spring things on you at the last second, and you have to read through the fine details of it. It's not permissible unless in these cases, which basically means that his argument point means that if you are on trial for sexual assault, they can't bring up the fact that you stole a Snicker bar in the 3rd grade.
Right.
That's what they mean. But if it was 2003 on going forward onto the trial, that all of that's admissible. All of that is all admissible. Period. Everything is admissible. You know what I mean? So you have to have a contextual understanding of the law and what is legally applicable. So that's all that it was. That's all.
I'm glad you had to down on set of blaze on his time because he was irritating all of us. So we were glad he was down.
You have to be, but you got to be ready for them to say whatever they gonna say or whatever. So, you need stuff like that to sharpen your legal acumen. So now that the legal acumen is sharpened, like I say, my crack team of researchers and paralegals, even though it's taking us off of the R. Kelly case, we are all getting burnt out on this R. Kelly shit, man. So let's take a little step back, and then let's go in and we're gonna have a trial, right? We're gonna have a trial on Friday. Me versus the honorary lawyer versus the non-lawyer, right?
Yeah.
And again, the non-lawyer is welcome to join the Boots on the Ground legal team. If y'all think you should join the Boots on the Ground legal team, then you know what I'm saying, shit, let me get some boots on the ground in the chat.
Nah, we don't want him.
Hey, we need everybody on the legal team. He needs to be on the Boots on the Ground.
Okay.
He needs to be on the Boots on the Ground.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
This was nice. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think wishing Nick Wood and Dorothy about the time. I'm finna get off the call.
Okay. All right.
They finna call in.
Okay.
Dorothy. All right, bye.
Wish or Dorothy, which I mean simple. I don't know. You hear me? Shit. This is the logo. You hear me? Shit. Get comfortable. You know what I mean? Listen. This is what we do. We break it down on a GED level. If y'all want to call in, if Wish or Dorothy, if anybody else want to call in, I know Dorothy not gonna call in. Dorothy only gonna call in.
Call from. To accept, press 1.
Hey, girlfriend. Hello.
Hello?
How you doing, girlfriend? How you doing?
What kind of phone and setup you got going?
You should have just called the other number. It's the same damn phone. But go ahead.
Oh, man, look. I got to ask a few questions to the last caller. Not the last caller, but the caller before her.
Mm-hmm. You got
the caller before her said something about he wrote somebody 2 for $2 at McDonald's.
Who?
You wasn't paying attention to the story.
He said
you got to go back through the chat.
He said he said he picked the girl up. She was trying to eat all of the fancy stuff, and he said he took that bitch to McDonald's. That's what I thought he said.
He said 2 for $1 at McDonald's.
I ain't mad at it.
They had to be like in the early 90s.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was exaggerating. I mean, he was exaggerating. You know.
Well, I'll just say that someone in the chat said they was going to challenge him with some thighs, and they was going to change his life. So you might want to read up in the chat on that.
Hey, man, listen to me. We don't, hey, he said that he liked to sip. We don't promote drunk sex. We don't promote drunk sex over here on the Opinionated News Network.
Oh.
But we do encourage it, though.
Oh. Oh.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
You might want to erase some of the chat down.
Why?
But anyway, the caller, the non-caller, the non-lawyer. To me, it sounded like he just wanted to have an argument. He didn't really come trying to,
Well, I mean,
listen. He didn't come for that. He just wanted to argue.
I mean, well, hey, like I say, shit. If he basically caught me off guard, right? Because if I would have known, that's why I come on and said, bro, we not finna do this last minute stuff anymore. Hey, if we coming, then hey, we gonna argue on the merits of the law, but you got to give me a chance to prepare a legal defense. So, I mean, again, when you look up what the federal statute is, basically the federal statutes most times mimic what the state statute is, but the federal just has a more expansive subset. So even, I tried to show him the federal codes. He said, well, that's the federal. We got to go to Illinois state code. He thought that he had something.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have anything. I mean, sometimes people are who they say they are. Me being one of them. Shit, who I say I am. So I mean, again, it was a bunch of shit that was getting thrown. But again, that's what come you. I got if y'all can't see this, I got two laptops sitting right here to my left and to my right. So I'm gonna show y'all something right here. All right. So this is another laptop that's sitting right here. All right. My bad. And then if y'all can see it, this is my other laptop that's sitting right there. So, excuse me. So, again, you have to be prepared for all arguments at all times. You got to be prepared for all arguments at all times. So, again, that's all that it was. I was prepared for his argument, Well, with that, when you make those videos, see, like doing these live streams are easy, The problem with the live stream is though that a lot of them don't have replay value. But with something like that, where you have to sit down for 40 hours and 50 hours and put together a Lanita Carter video and edit and chop and cut text, that shit takes some time. So you have to know about what you're talking about to put that stuff together. But I promise y'all, I have not looked at Lanita Carter's case in 3 months, and that's on my life. I ain't looked at that shit in 3 months. All of that was off the top of the head. I promise you. Well, shit, I ain't. I ain't had no time to prep for that shit. If anybody aware of it, So yeah, that's what it is.
I hear you.
So, you got.
Well, I don't think he wants to be a boots on the ground member. I don't think that's what he wants to do.
Well, shit, listen. It's you can argue want and you can argue a necessity. If you come with them arguing points, then hey, you gonna have to be with the boots on the ground. But no, all seriousness though, I like a lot of his work. I like a lot of his work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's why I said, man, we need to do a live stream together or whatever. So I really want to, just thank the brother for coming over and doing it because, originally it was supposed to take place over on his platform. So, hey, that's what it was. So, like I say, man, he was pretty cool. Pretty decent at what he did, and
I mean, like I said, to me it just seemed like he came more to argue and not come to a common understanding of what you was trying to.
Well, I mean, hey, like I say, we did come to a common understanding. He had to leave and go get something to eat, even though he shouldn't eat late. What you laughing about? That's what he said.
All right. Well, that's my opinion. And I like the chat. I want to shout out Miss It's Fig because she came through with that information towards the beginning of the call.
Well, definitely thank you. It's Fig.
Yeah.
She said, Trent, he was making you look bad. All right, cool. But I want y'all to understand.
I don't think he was making you look bad, but he was trying to.
I mean, it was, I want y'all to understand something. He prepared his argument. All of that shit was in the spirit of the moment. And then you have to see with the law is intentionally written like a long, unformatted ass book. So you have to break it down. But when you read through it, then all of it is applicable. Or what have you, which is basically him saying that they have to argue against it, So, I mean, I think that...
sometimes people just want to try and get you to fold, though, that's all. They just want to try to get you to fold to comply with what they're saying. But not stand your ground and stand on what you're saying that you mean. and what you understand as far as That's all it was.
So I mean, you don't think that we could be a legal team or whatever with me as the lead counsel or whatever?
No.
You know, y'all kept on saying Trent Cochran on the case. I was not Trent Cochran on the case tonight. I was Trent Greenberg or whatever, right? That's why y'all was saying shit. I was looking bad. All right, I was Trent Greenberg. Go ahead, though. Go ahead, Wish.
I mean, you can you add who you want, but just from my own perspective and what I heard, I would say it wouldn't be a good thing with him because he just argue. It sounds like he just arguing just to be long winded.
Right. I mean, hey, it was that. Shit. It was that, but again, it's a difference between reading through a law book and understanding what the law book says. And that was the only difference, man. Is that I understood what the law book said, But I do welcome anybody else, because this is something that I'm trying to get better at. So anybody else that want to have a legal argument, then we can argue this out legally. We can argue it out legally, period. Y'all set a time and a place, and I will argue this case. Period. Y'all set a time and a case, and I will argue this. This is just big facts. If anybody else wants to argue this case, again, I'm open for all discussion. I'm open for it. Whoever wants to
shouldn't have the same thought process.
There you go. What else?
I concur with that, but at the same time, you don't want to have someone that's always wanting to argue.
I mean, I have to go back and listen.
Because that just doesn't.
I would have to listen to the playback because, obviously, being behind the wheel back here is far different than, sitting on you guys' side. So a lot of these things I just don't I don't get a chance to see. I don't get a chance to see kind of what y'all are talking about a lot of the times. Here we go. I don't get a chance.
Yeah, it's kind of like he was testing you to see, to see how far you was gonna go. Was you gonna keep going with his narrative, or he was trying to make you fold, to say, you know what, dude, you're right. But
Yeah,
and to me, that's more like he's trying to be arguing versus trying to actually come to a common
understanding. I mean, it was. Well, what happened is that he started on a one premise, but again, you have to defend your stance. And in defending his stance, then I was defending my stance, and only one can win. Only one stance can win. So, So, I mean, again, should we have to look and see that, like I say, I leave it up to the people. Do the people want me to go in and debate the whether or not the savages did anything illegal, or do we just need to move on and do other things? You say no, girlfriend.
Ask the chat.
What does he say? The chat say boots on the ground. Yes, but choose a different topic. Let's see here. Dorothy is the only one who responded. Your best friend. Weird. Your best friend is the only one that responded. Opinionated News Network. We do the research over here. I'll say yes if you ask. And shit. The people say, it seems like the people are saying yes. The people are saying yes. Okay. Well, heavier is the head that wears the crown. God damn it.
What?
Okay, Marlena.
Get out of here. Good call.
Okay.
Until next time.
All right. Well, we're gonna do it. Friday at 8:00. Friday at 8:00 is going down.
All right.
It's going down. Friday at 8:00.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, dear. Listen, I want to thank every one of y'all for staying with me for this last 3 hours and 15 minutes. We certainly had a good time. All of my boots on the ground members, he want to help me prepare my legal argument to debate the non-lawyer on Friday at 8:00. If you want to help me prepare my legal argument to debate the non-lawyer on Friday at 8:00, then email me. If you want to help me prepare my legal argument to debate the non-lawyer on Friday at 8:00, then email me. Oh shit. That's why you don't start drinking shit. I wrote the whole goddamn email up here. All right. If you want to help me prepare my legal arguments, if you want me to help prepare my legal arguments to debate the non-lawyer, then call me, right? The lawsuit basically the savages trespassing. Okay. All right. If y'all want me to prepare my legal argument, then the savages trespassing is the topic, right? If y'all want to help me prepare the legal argument, then hit my email, man. Opinionated at protonmail.com. Before we get up out of here, though. I want to bring people's attention to this. Right? Opinionated. Over here at Opinionators, we got the Kills Handler shirts for $12. Right? We got the Opinionated shirts. These cost, these start off at $18, and those are $18. That's about as cheap as we can make them. We got the Cognac Chronicle shirts. These shirts cost about $14, right? We got the Mute Dana J shirt. He has used R. Kelly's long enough. You can go and buy these shirts, right? You can go and buy these shirts over at opinionated.com. Mute Dana J. He has used R. Kelly's name long enough, right? Let's see here. Oh shit, I'm fucking up. Okay. And these shirts, these are premium shirts. We got several different colors. You pick a color, and hey, we got several different colors. All right. Like I said, we got these Kels Handler shirts. Yeah, we got these like that. We got them like that. We got them like that. We got them like several different colors. All right. We got the Kels Handler shirts, right? We have the Opinionated Fisherman hats. All right. We got them like that. Shit, we got them like that. And shit, we got them like that, y'all. We got these things going off. Now, if you are an important type nigga, you hear me? Then we got the Opinionated polo shirts. Opinionated polo shirts, y'all. We got those over there, right? We have the Kels Handler shirts. Got these Kels Handler shirts, right? You know, shit, I gotta go back and edit these shirts. But, you know, we got the Kels Handler shirts. We got these in, you know, several different colors. And on the back, once I edit it, it's gonna say that the circle is so small it don't connect. That's a homage, right? We got the opinionated sweatpants, right? These are the opinionated sweatpants, right? These are the opinionated sweatpants, y'all. All right. Now we got the free belief shirts, right? We got free belief. We got these in several different colors, right? This is if you want to see belief again, I want everything. Jane Doe number 5, you know. Then we got the Gales Handlers long sleeve shirts, all right? We got them in 2 different colors. We got the bomber jackets, all right? We got these bomber jackets. I personally designed this jacket, all right? I designed this thing, right? Then we got our hoodies, and you know, we also got you know, we got our website, y'all. If y'all want to sign up for our newsletter, you can come right here. Now, before we get up out of here, let me go ahead and do a shameless plug. Now, you come over here, and here. So, you know, you can come over here, and when you come over here, then again, shit, you're gonna see we got so much stuff over here in grad school. It costs $5 per month to sign up for grad school. However, when it's all said and done, grad school is gonna be the way that it goes, right? This video could get copyright stricken tomorrow under false pretenses. This just very well can happen. So you might want to go and add me on Facebook. Let me show y'all my Facebook, y'all. Shit. Listen. All right. Listen to me. Okay, hold on 1 second, y'all. All right, so make sure y'all go and add me on Facebook because y'all gonna need to know where to find me at in case one of these bozos, you know, go and copyright strike me. See, this is what a good girlfriend does. I love you. All right, y'all. Listen. We came over here, we debated the non-lawyer, we talked to the OGs in the game, we broke this case down, we argued the case, studied the case. I showed y'all my Facebook, I showed y'all opinionated.com, I showed y'all Patreon. Listen, Patreon costs $5 a month. And when you get over there, as soon as you unlock the Patreon, if it's any Patreon members who are currently signed up right now, ask them is the $5 that they spent for the Patreon worth it. The Patreon goes to weed out the bullshit people. All right. So, you know, if you aren't a bullshit person, pay the $5 a month, bring your ass over to Patreon. All right, y'all. It's been easy, and now I'm on to the next one. Peace.